Hello out there, everyone, and welcome to Lyman Hall's Fitzgerald Field, where today will be played the 21st annual Carini Bowl between the crosstown rivals Sheehan Titans and our host, Lyman Hall Trojans. Hi, everybody. I'm Frank Raucci with a special guest commentator, a former sports editor of the Record Journal and former Wilcox baseball coach, but most importantly, an avid and long-standing Lyman Hall rooter, Chuck Burghardt. Chuck, torrential rains forced the Thanksgiving postponement, but the fields had a day and a half to start drying out. We walked the field before the game. What's the condition of this field, and how do you see it affecting this game?
Thank you, Frank. It's a pleasure to be here. The field conditions are pretty good considering the rain it has taken, but it could get sloppy, especially on the south end of the field where it is worn out. And that should favor Lyman Hall if it gets to be sloppy conditions because of their power running attack. Frank, tell us about this Carini Bowl series.
Well, Chuck, as I mentioned at the top of the telecast, this is the 21st annual Carini Bowl, and Lyman Hall holds a commanding 16-4 advantage. And the Trojans come in looking to stretch their latest victory run to 3 in a row. But they'll be attempting to do it against a favored and superior Sheehan squad. It hurts me to say that, Chuck, but fact is fact. Lyman Hall enters the game with a 2-7 overall record, while Sheehan sports an impressive 8-1 record. And in point of fact, we're only 7 points away from an undefeated record. The Titans sustained a 34-27 loss to league champion and undefeated Cheshire squad in their opening game and had rattled off 8 in a row since. The game appears to be a mismatch. But, Chuck, you referred to Lyman Hall as a snake-bitten sleeping giant. What did you mean by that?
Frank, Lyman Hall has had a rash of injuries throughout this season to key personnel, starting with last year's All-Stater and the heart and soul of the Trojans, middle linebacker and fullback Mike Terrell, who missed 5 games with a broken hand. Added to that were injuries to another All-Stater, quarterback and cornerback Scott Anderson, tackles Al Vigliato, Craig Lumbra, and a host of others. That's the snake-bitten story. The sleeping giant lies in the fact that, with the exception of Lumbra, Lyman Hall is healthy and coming off a confidence-building 35-0 thrashing of East Haven in their last game. What seems to be a mismatch may once again turn into another Thanksgiving barn burner. Let's look at the teams in depth. Frank, tell us about the Titans.
Well, Chuck, once again, those Titans are 8-1, and they're coached by third-year mentor Dennis Mannion, who is assisted by Charlie Farley, John Bosey, Bill Allen, Jim Wyant, and Tom St. Amand. It's an impressive coaching staff, Chuck, and I'll tell you, I talked to Coach Mannion before the game, and he's just such a personable and intelligent coach. I understand why in 3 years he's built a real winner on the Sheehan side. Sheehan has averaged an eye-catching 31 points per game, and they have a scary, totally balanced offense led by quarterback Pat Hart, who has thrown for 1,162 yards and 12 touchdowns. And they are led in running by the trio of Tom Balderaki, Keith Crum, and Kyle Hare, who have combined for an astounding 1,947 yards and 22 touchdowns. Count them, 22. Call out the Marines, Chucky, because that's what it may take to stop them. Defensively, the Titans have more than adequately got the job done and are led by linebackers Mike Florzik, John Gers, and what an athlete he is, an all-around athlete. You're going to enjoy watching that kid Gers today. And they're also led defensively by defensive tackle Charlie Greenlaw. Chuck, give us a rundown on our host, Lyman Hall Trojans.
The Trojans once again enter this game with a 2-7 record, Frank. They're coached by Phil Atoshin, the dean of the Housatonic League coaches, in his 25th year. Phil is assisted by defensive coordinator Steve Hogue, offensive line and linebacker coach Chip McKeon, receivers and defensive back coach Matt Baker, head scout Mike Marone, freshman coach and scout Scott Atoshin, and freshman assistant Mark Blanchard. Offensively, the Trojans are led by the running of all-Hoosie back Mark Aceto, who in his first year running the ball has gained an impressive 1,136 yards with 10 touchdowns, most of which was gotten without the complement of now healthy, punishing fullback Mike Terrell. It's quite a 1-2 punch. The Trojans are now quarterbacked by junior Mike Smith, who with only a few games under his belt has thrown for 520 yards and a 50% completion rate. The aerial arsenal that Smith has to throw to are Mike Anderson, Scott Anderson, and Big Chris Plant. The Trojans also sport a veteran line. Defensively, the Trojans are led by the awesome middle linebacking of Mike Terrell, defensive end Jeff Walczewski, tackle Kevin Bismack, cornerback Sean McNulty, and safety Scott Anderson.
Well, Chucky, while they are flipping, or they're having the coin flip at the center of the field, I'd like to talk about the Lyman Hall keys today, as I got from Philotoshan, and then I'll give you a chance to speak about the Sheehan keys.
Okay.
Chuck, as I mentioned, I had a talk with Coach Atoshan at length this week, and I asked him about the keys to today's game, and these are his comments. Offensively, he feels that Lyman Hall has got to have good field position, that it's crucial, especially on a field like this. He feels they have to shorten the game with a ball control offense. They must establish the run, or it's sayonara for the Lyman Hall squad. Mike Terrell must have a big fullback day, and we can't be a one-back offense, Phil says. We can't rely on Marcusito. And 5, Phil says he's putting in new offensive sets, which are intriguing, but it's top secret and classified, Chuck, as usual. Defensively, Phil praised Sheehan for their quick strike offense and said we must make them work. Phil says the defense cannot take chances and they must play Sheehan straight up. He feels we have to play with a sustained intensity and that all the players must step up, and most importantly, he feels we got to put heat on quarterback Pat Hart. What about the keys from Coach Dennis Mannion on that Sheehan squad, Chuck?
Thank you, Frank. Pre-game conversation with head coach Dennis Mannion revealed the following game keys. Offensively, once again, they're a quick strike offense, but if needed, they will have to move the ball consistently in a series or substantial long drives. Balance, they have to throw and run the ball. And 3, the third offensive key, defensively, Lyman Hall's size poses a problem, yet they have to run the ball inside and not concede the middle to Mike Terrell. Defense.
Chucky, excuse me,
we'll have to go now.
We'll finish later, but right now we're ready for the kickoff. Sheehan is going to be kicking, and Lyman Hall is going to be receiving, and we'll finish up those keys at our first opportunity.
Okay.
The ball is off. It's a low liner, picked up by number 88, Mike Anderson. And Chuck, it's a short kick, and Lyman Hall is going to enjoy tremendous field position at the Lyman Hall 43-yard line. And here we go, Chuck.
Okay.
Finish those keys, Chuck, as Lyman Hall goes into the huddle.
Okay, defensively, number 1, the Titans must stop Marcusito or slow him down. And here's the play-by-play.
And Chucky, we are ready for the first play from scrimmage of the ball game. Smith hands up to Aceto, who goes up the middle for approximately 4 yards. And Lyman Hall is now looking at 2nd and 6, Chuck.
The second defensive key is they can't let Mike Terrell punish them. He's got to be challenged all game, according to Coach Dennis Mannion. Number 3, in the air, they must stop or link the Anderson twins connection. They must stop that.
Chuck, here we go. 2nd and 6 for the Trojans. Smith. Aceto once again up the middle for 3 to 4 yards, and it looks like the Trojans will be looking at 3rd and 2.
The final defensive key for the Titans, according to Coach Mannion, is the real key, Dennis feels, is putting constant pressure on the young quarterback of the Trojans, Mike Smith.
Chuck, an early, crucial play in the ball game here. Lyman Hall looking at 3rd and 2.5. Bad snap from center, Chuck. Bad exchange between the center, Kevin Marquis, and Mike Smith. And we've got a fumble on the play, an early break for the Sheehan Titans. And they are going to be getting the ball at their own 48-yard line. Chuck, a hard luck break early for Lyman Hall.
Tough break for Lyman Hall. Now the explosive Titans will go on offense, and they are explosive.
Pat Hart, quarterback in the Sheehan squad. Here they come. Oh, Chuck, we've got an offsides here. We had movement in the Sheehan line, and they will be going back 5 yards.
Well, that'll slow them down a little bit, hopefully.
Chuck, while we have a chance, why don't you set the Sheehan offense for us, and then I'll review the Lyman Hall defense.
The quarterback is Pat Hart. He's a senior, number 10. The running backs, number 21, Keith Crum. He's a senior captain. And number 32, Kyle Hare. He's a junior. At fullback, we have Tom Raucci, senior co-captain, too. Tri-captain, sorry.
1st and 15, Sheehan Titans. Number 21, Keith Crum on the carry for a gain of 1.
At tight end, the Titans will have number 36, John Gers. He's a junior. He is a tremendous athlete. Offensive center, number 50, Doug DePasquale, a junior. And back to the play-by-play. Get him in here.
Chuck, Sheehan's looking at a 2nd and 14 here. So far, Lyman Hall defense has showed up looking to play ball. Ball to Raucci. Ball to Raucci picks up 4 yards, and Sheehan is going to be looking at a 3rd and 10.
Outstanding play by Scott Anderson. Tremendous player, all-stater, his junior year.
Chuck, as you know, it's no secret to anybody who knows football in Wallingford, Scott Anderson is one of the best players in the state of Connecticut.
There's no doubt about it. He's also a great kicker.
Chuck, here's an early, crucial 3rd down situation, and you have an amazing statistic about the Sheehan offense in 3rd downs, which you'll reveal to our fans later. 3rd and 10. Hart back to pass. It is complete. Complete to Kyle Hare.
And Mark Aceto makes an outstanding defensive play right on Kyle Hare. That's what the Trojans have to do. They have to stop this explosive Sheehan team.
Chuck, Lyman Hall is held early, and it looks like we'll be getting the ball via the punt route. Number 36.
Number 36, John Gers. He does about everything out there. Tremendous all-around athlete, good basketball player, outstanding baseball player. Okay.
There's the kick. Aceto's receiving. Now, Chuck, there's an instance early where the field condition has hurt the Lyman Hall squad. Mark Aceto received the ball cleanly, but slipped on his footing and fell down.
Yep, and that's the end of the field. It is a little bit sloppier, isn't it? North end's a little bit better.
Chuck, at the top of the telecast, the south side is slippery. Lyman Hall has got the ball on the 19, 1st and 10. Let's see if Lyman Hall can establish any offensive rhythm. Oh, Aceto. A beautiful run. Mike, it looks like Aceto picked up about 9 yards on that carry. And let me set the Lyman Hall offensive squad. At center is Kevin Marquis, right guard Kevin Bismack, right tackle Al Vigliato, left guard Jeff Wojcicki, left tackle Sean San Miguel, tight end Chris Plant, split end Scott Anderson, flanker Mike Anderson, quarterback Mike Smith, tailback Mark Aceto, and fullback Mike Terrell. Chuck, Aceto was met
on
the line by number 21, Keith Crum, a tremendous defensive stop. But Aceto manages to make the 1st down. And Lyman Hall, Chuck, has got the initial 1st down of the ball game.
And that's important because they have to control the clock to keep the Sheehan offense off the field.
Well, Chuck, as you mentioned at the top of the telecast, we just may be in for that barn burner that you talked about.
Every year, Frank, we have a barn burner here, it seems.
Oh, there's a fumble. Terrell coughed it up, and Sheehan has got the 2nd turnover on a fumble.
This is really going to test the Lyman Hall defense. Twice now, the Lyman Hall offense has given the ball to Sheehan an excellent field position. This one's even better.
Now, Chucky, it looks to me like the Titans are going to get the ball on roughly the Lyman Hall 27-yard line.
Yep.
And, Chuck, when we have a chance, why don't you set that Sheehan offense for us after this play? Pat Hart to Tom Balderacchi, and Balderacchi made a beautiful run and gained approximately 9 yards. No, it's a first, Chuck.
1st down. Yeah.
Impressive 1st down by Balderacchi. And Sheehan early is on a drive.
Big hole by the offensive line of Sheehan there.
Hart sets him up.
21 on the carry.
Handoff to Keith Crum. Crum is knocked out of bounds by number 3, Lyman Hall captain Scott Anderson. Chuck, why don't you run down that Sheehan offense for us quickly?
Okay, quarterbacks Pat Hart, running backs Keith Crum and Kyle Hare. Tom Balderacchi's the fullback. John Gers the tight end. Doug DePasquale is the offensive center. At offensive guard, we have Frank Apuzzo and Alex Mezzi. The offensive tackles are Chuck Greenlaw and Neil Bilodeau. And the split end is Shane Dorsey.
And Chuck, when I get an opportunity, I'll run down that Trojan defense for us.
And they're being tested.
And tested early.
This is a big break for Lyman Hall. It's probably what they need to slow Sheehan down at this point.
I mentioned this week, Chuck, that I had talked to Coach Atoshin, and he gave me one statistic that popped my eyes out, Chuck. Why don't you relay that to our fans at home? Because I just could not believe it.
It's just amazing. In the 6 games that the Lyman Hall scouts scouted Sheehan only had 6 third-down situations. Only 6 times in 6 games they faced a third-down situation.
That
amazing.
statistic is amazing. It tells about the potency of the Sheehan attack. And believe me, for all you doubters, this Sheehan team is for real and one of the best to ever come out of Wallingford.
Oh, great.
Oh, nice cut. Oh, Kyle Hare made a tremendous inside cut on that play. He saw a gap to the inside and took advantage of it. Just a tremendous run by Kyle Hare. And we've got a 1st and goal for the Sheehan Titans early.
Unbelievable run. Once again, Scott Anderson saves it for the Trojans.
This is just what Coach Atoshin did not want to see. He wanted to keep that Sheehan offense on the field for a long time, and they are driving and knocking on the door.
Great play there.
Had Hart to Baldaraki for a short gain. And Chuck, the man in the middle, the number 1 man, I would say maybe in the state of Connecticut, the middle linebacker, Mike Terrell, on the stop.
Yeah, he made a stop, and also being on the play was Jeff Walczewski was there too.
Well, Chuck, one interesting thing that Dennis Mannion did say, as you mentioned, he said, we cannot concede the middle to Mike Terrell.
No way.
I'll tell you something. He is such a force that most teams do. Let's see if Sheehan can run on the inside. So far, they've shown the capacity to do it.
I'm calling a timeout right now, Frank.
Well,
something they didn't like
on that timeout, Chuck, this will give me an opportunity to set. I think it's the second time I said to set the Lyman Hall defensive squad. At right defensive end, we've got Frank DeLanger. Right tackle is Al Vigliotto. Left defensive end is Jeff Walczewski. Left tackle is Kevin Bismack. Strong side linebacker is Chris Plant. Weak side linebacker is Mike Aceto. The middle linebacker is the awesome Mike Terrell. And I might add, the best athlete on this field, I believe, is middle linebacker John Gertz for Sheehan. But the best football player on this field is no doubt middle linebacker Mike Terrell for the Trojans. Strong safety is John Zacco. Weak safety Scott Anderson. One cornerback is Sean McNulty, and the other corner is Mike Anderson. And Chuck, we've set the Lyman Hall and Sheehan offensive defensive squads, and let's have our fans at home enjoy the game.
Okay, thank you.
2nd and goal.
Another.
Hart to Baldaraki, and nothing doing.
Jeff Walczewski again on a tackle.
Jeff Walczewski so far playing a strong inside game with a nice stop. And coming in second on the play is the man we're going to be mentioning again a lot today, Mike Terrell.
Tremendous football player, Frank. Just a tremendous football player.
Well, he's such a nice, personable kid, Chuck, off the field.
No.
But I'll tell you something. I've sat on the Lyman Hall bench for a lot of games, and as a football player, he's scary. Titans 3rd down. And the Lyman Hall defense has risen up again.
Lyman Hall is making an impressive goal line stand here, Frank. This is impressive.
Chuck, where would you say that ball is down there? It's on the far side of the field. It looks to me like it's on about the 1 foot line.
I don't think it's moved 2 inches in the last 3 downs, Frank.
Well, Chuck, here it is early. Sheehan needs to get in. They need that momentum to get out in front. They've done it all season, but let's see if the Lyman Hall defense can rise up and stop them. Big play here. 4th and goal. And Pat Hart calls timeout. Chuck, it looks like he didn't like the defensive alignment that he saw.
And that's 2 timeouts that Sheehan has burned early, trying to figure out what's going on with the Lyman Hall defense. If the Lyman Hall stops in here, it'll be very frustrating for Sheehan.
Chuck, as I mentioned, Hart had a play called from the bench from Coach Mannion. He saw a defensive alignment he didn't like, and he had the presence of mind and was smart enough to call a timeout. this touchdown and this play for the Titans is key, and key early.
It's an early key, without a doubt. Again, if they don't score, they'll be frustrated. This could give Lyman Hall a tremendous boost and shift the momentum.
No doubt about it, Chuck. This would give the Trojans just such a tremendous boost. But, Chuck?
I think the Sheehan will have to go wide here, Frank.
Chuck, I might agree with you for only one thing. I'm expecting a rollout here. I might agree with you for one reason. Lyman Hall's got the size up front, and they can pack that middle, and I think Philotoshan will, and challenge him to go outside. Let's see if we're right.
Okay.
I think Hart is going to come out with an option. Nope, inside to Crum. Chuck, that was the old Washington Redskins offensive counter tray.
And it was very good blocking in there.
Hart rolled out right and handed the ball off to Kyle Hare, who went off tackle for the touchdown. And we've got a Sheehan Titans 6-0 lead. And on the field right now for the Sheehan Titans is an impressive kicker by the name of Todd Richardson, who's going to be attempting Sheehan's 7th point. And we have it. Sheehan Titans 7, Lyman Hall nothing. Chuck, impressive drive by the Titans, but it was set up by a Lyman Hall fumble.
That's another 2 early breaks for Sheehan, and they took advantage of the second one. And they even overcame a 15-yard penalty on top of it.
Well, Chuck, I'll have to say here that this drive now looms very heavy for Lyman Hall.
Lyman Hall is going to have to take the ball and drive the length of the field. Come back and score. I believe they'll have to do. I think you're right, Frank.
I believe you're right, Chuck. I don't know about scoring, but I think they need to establish a consistent drive here just to show themselves, to prove to themselves that they can move the ball against these Sheehan Titans.
Absolutely.
Let's see if they can do it. Sheehan getting set to kick off from the 40. Lyman Hall will receive with, once again, the all-Hoosie back, Mark Aceto back deep. And while I have an opportunity, Chuck, I'd like to talk about Mark Aceto. I've known the Aceto family since Marky was a little kid, and I just have tremendous respect for him. He has the heart of a lion.
He's a very tough competitor.
Off Aceto's hands. Aceto picks it up. Nothing doing. Lyman Hall is going to have the ball in tough field position, Chuck. 1st and 10 on their own 10-yard line. And this is just what Coach Atoshin once again did not want to see.
Lyman Hall must have a drive at this point to get out of this bad field position, if nothing else, Frank.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, Chuck. It's evidenced early that the Sheehan Titans have come to play. Unfortunately, with their great record, they are not going to be going to the state playoffs. And this is their state championship game for all intents and purposes.
Without a doubt, Frank.
Here comes Aceto. He has broke one.
Gone.
It looks like he may go all the way. Aceto to the 40. Aceto to the 35. And Chucky Aceto has just broken a tremendous play for Lyman Hall.
That could be a very big turnaround in this game, Frank. And only Chuck Greenlaw saved the Titans from being up by just a point.
Oh, Chucky, for the fans at home, excuse me for losing it, but when I see my boy, Mark Aceto, break one, I get carried away.
Very nice young man, Frank.
Chuck, we needed that. The Trojans needed that, and now we've got 1st and 10 on the Sheehan 35. Mike Smith hands off to Mikey Terrell, and Terrell's up the yard for a solid 5 yards.
Mike has a cast off, I see now. The cast he played with a couple games.
Well, as you mentioned at the top of the telecast, Chuck, Mike Terrell's absence for 5 games took the heart and soul out of the Trojans. Mark Aceto literally carried this team through this season.
Yes, he did. He did a tremendous job.
And once again, Lyman Hall, 2nd and 5 from the Sheehan 30. And Mike Terrell for a solid 3 yards. And 4 yards make that. And Lyman Hall is going to be looking at a 3rd and 1.
This is the kind of football that Coach Atoshin loves, Frank, as you know. Power football.
Chuck, let's prepare our fans here for the possibility of a big play. This is the play you want to gamble on. You've got a 3rd and 1. Sheehan should be packing it in the center, and this is the play to go up top.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's a 1st down. I'm going to call that, Chuck.
Yeah, it is.
First
He went over
down.
the line.
And Chuck,
I don't know if we get it.
Chucky, I believe in omission here, we have not set the Sheehan defense. I thought we had. After this next play, why don't you set that Sheehan defense for us?
Okay, thank you.
Here come the Trojans. Mike Terrell with a gain of 2, Chuck. We're looking at a 2nd and 8. Why don't you set that Sheehan defensive squad for us?
Okay, defense in, we have number 53, Mike Boudreau. He's a junior. I'm trying to pick up the numbers here. Okay,
Chuck, here we go.
Back to you later.
2nd and 8. After this play, we'll set the rest of that Sheehan defensive squad.
Right here.
Smith goes back to pass. He's got it. Oh, Chuck. Scott Anderson was wide open out there around the 15-yard line, but Mike Smith couldn't deliver it to him.
Okay, the other defensive end is number, Mike Boudreau, 53. He's a defensive end. At linebackers, we have Mike Florzak, number 44, John Gers, number 36, and Chuck Greenlaw, number 62. And Dennis Mannion, he switches players in and out, so these players will change as the game goes on.
Okay,
he uses
Chuck,
about 14 or 15 defensive players.
We've got a timeout here, Lyman Hall Trojans, and let's take this opportunity to take time for a brief commercial message. We'll be right back. Well, Chuck, we're back after that brief public service announcement, and Lyman Hall is looking at a 3rd and 9 right now. Mike Smith threw an interception. And right now, once again, crucial play for the Trojans. 3rd and 9 for their old 24. Oh, fumble. And Chuck, that time, quarterback Mike Smith was blindsided by number 33, Tom Balderacchi, one of the captains of Sheehan. A big defensive play by Balderacchi. And now the Trojans are looking at 4th and 15 on the Sheehan 30. Chuck, what do you think about this play? Tough situation to be in.
Well, time is almost out in the first period, but once again, Lyman Hall, they need this first down. Keep that defense off the field.
4th and 15. Obvious passing situation. Smith back.
Intercepted.
Oh, Chucky, that was almost 14 zip.
But pretty close, yeah.
Number 15 for the Sheehan Titans, Brendan Farley, almost picked that off, and that would have been all she wrote, Chuck. He was out there in the flat all alone.
He had 6 if he caught it.
Well, Chuck, I'm impressed by what I saw. We mentioned that Lyman Hall would have to put together a drive on that series. Aided by Aceto's long run, they did just that. But now the game is in the hands of the Trojan defense. Let's see if they can stop them. 1st and 10, Sheehan Titans. Balderacchi outside. Boy, Chuck, I do like this Balderacchi kid.
He's a tough runner, Frank.
He gained about 5 yards then, and I'll tell you something. He has what you can't teach, and that's the ability to run the daylight. That time he went off tackle, saw nothing, and quickly turned it to the outside and got a 5-yard gain on the play. Impressive running by Tom Balderacchi.
He's also the kid that made the big defensive sack of Mike Smith just a few minutes ago.
Well, Coach, that's the end of the first quarter with the score. The Sheehan Titans 7 and the Lyman Hall Trojans nothing. And so far, it's basically been a game made up of 2 things. Turnovers, which have gone the Sheehan Titans' way, and the ability of the high-flying Sheehan Titan offense to move the ball.
Without a doubt, Frank. And Lyman Hall has to keep Sheehan from getting a first down here or any kind of a long drive. So they get the ball back, get a chance to score themselves.
Well, Chuck, I would say that this defensive series is key for the Trojans. We have to put the stops to them. Keith Crum to the outside. Chuck, this is only my second opportunity. Crum on a long gainer there. This is up for a first down. This is only my second opportunity to see the Sheehan Titans this year. But both times I have been super impressed with their consistent offense and their ability to move the ball from and at any part of the field. They just have so many weapons.
They have an awesome arsenal of offensive weapons, as you said, Frank.
Well, Chuck, it reminds me of Scud missiles coming at you. They just can hit you from so many different directions.
Any one of their players can score at any time.
Well, Philatoshin, when I talked to him during the week, as I said, he was just so impressed with this Sheehan offense. And he paid Dennis Mannion the highest compliment. He said to me, parts of Dennis's offense border on genius. He said, it's just things I've never seen before. And
big play there.
Hard hands off to Balderaki for no gain.
Kevin Bismack.
Kevin Bismack on the stop. Thanks, Chuck. With that crowd in the middle, sometimes it's tough to pick out the numbers. But right now, Sheehan is looking at 2nd and 10 from their own 49-yard line.
Frank, you mentioned Dennis Mannion being a genius, and he has the arsenal to carry out his plays.
Well, in only his 3rd year, Dennis has built a tremendous football machine. Coach Atoshin is a proven winner over the years, but now Dennis has risen up in just 3 years to compete.
It's a pass.
Hart.
Scott Anderson.
Intercepted by Scott Anderson. The intended receiver was number 36, John Gers, and played beautifully by one of the Lyman Hall captains, Scott Anderson, and intercepted.
Frank, you mentioned that John Gers is a tremendous all-around athlete. Well, so is Scott Anderson. He is awesome in track. Has been already proven in football and All-Stater last year, defensive back. And there you see why. He had 6 or 7 interceptions last year.
Chuck, he read Pat Hart's eyes and watched him all the way there. And just perfect timing to intercept that ball. 1st and 10 for the Trojans from their own 32. Smith to Aceto. Aceto drives ahead for 5 yards, and Lyman Hall is going to be looking at 2nd and 5. Number 83, Chuck, who is that? 83 for Sheehan.
Andy Borelli.
Andy Borelli.
5'11" senior.
I'm going to presume that that's the son of former coach Andy Borelli, but I'm not sure.
Right, and his father's not a head coach at North Branford, I believe, right?
Correct. Well, here we are. Ball on the Lyman Hall 37, 2nd and 5 for the Trojans. Smith back. Scott Anderson on the reception. Anderson with a gain of approximately 15, 18 yards. And Lyman Hall with a first down. And now in Sheehan territory on the Sheehan 47.
That was a well-executed play, Frank. It had to be well-executed because it could be 6 the other way if they hang it up.
Chucky, that's a play. As you know, I'm one of the Powder Puff coaches. That is a play we ran successfully against the Titan Powder Puff girls the other day. The quick pass out in the flat. Oh, Mike Terrell up the middle for a punishing, and I mean punishing, 12 yards, and it's going to be 1st and 10 for the Trojans again.
Mike is like a runaway freight train out there, Frank, once he gets the momentum.
Well, you don't want to get in his way once Mikey builds up a little bit of a head of speed because, as Dennis Mannion mentioned, he can be punishing.
Frank, I'd like to congratulate you and the Lyman Hall coaches, Nick Economopoulos, and yourself, and I guess Rich Cavallaro?
Rich Cavallaro,
and, Frank
defensive
Doyle.
Coach, Scott Atoshin, Georgie Doyle.
George Doyle, sorry.
Jimmy Lynch, a former Lyman Hall football coach. Chuck, it was a tremendous victory for us, 28-7, and I'll have to say, the class of 93 turned out to be one of the best classes we've ever worked with in terms of spirit, pride, and just plain enjoyment. Aceto ahead for approximately 2 yards, and Lyman Hall is looking at a 2nd and 8.
That was
from the Sheehan 31, Chuck?
Sheehan 31, 32, yeah, around there.
Oh, Lyman Hall, once again, Chuck, moving down the field, chewing up some yards, but they've still got to put that ball in the end zone or put some points on the board. Smith to Aceto.
He goes outside. That was a very nice defensive play.
Oh, great play out in the flat by number 21, Kyle here. And what I talked about before with Balderaki.
That was Keith Crump, Frank.
Keith Crump, excuse me, number 21.
They're almost like
Keith
twins
Crump.
the way they play. Both are explosive, both are dangerous, and good defensive players, too.
What I talked about before in Balderaki, just the ability to run the ball, something you can't coach. Aceto showed evidence of that there. You know, just going up the middle and quickly cutting outside to daylight.
Very gritty player.
Tremendous runner. Mike Smith to Aceto, and he gets forward for approximately 1 or 2 yards, and there's a host of Titans on that tackle, led by number 50, Doug DePasquale. Gang tackled there, Chuck.
Doug DePasquale is also the offensive center for the Titans.
Chuck.
The clock shows 4th down.
We have got a Lyman Hall first down. I didn't think so, but the chains have just been moved. I thought it was going to be short yardage for the first, but Lyman Hall managed to make the first down.
Oh.
Aceto once again on the carry, nothing doing. Stopped by
Kenny Biggs was one to stop. People
and
stop.
Nick D'Angelo, number 11. Both players on the stop for the Sheehan Titans.
Last time Lyman Hall drove deep into Sheehan territory, the Titan defense rose to the occasion to stop him. We'll see what happens here, Frank.
Well, this is, Chuck's just about where we got on the last drive, and then we were stalled. The Titans defense rose up. Let's see what happens here. 2nd and 9.
Mike Smith.
Oh, what a fake! Chuck faked me out. I don't know about
you. It froze the Titan defense, Frank.
I thought Mike Terrell had the ball, and the next thing I know, I see Mike Smith rounding the corner and going out to the flat with it. Tremendous fake by Mike Terrell and Mike Smith.
Without a doubt, Frank. About 6 of the Titan defenders thought the same thing. They thought Mike Terrell had the ball.
Unbelievable. Chuck,
That's a
I
big
did
play.
not pick that up. I think as you did not. At least I didn't see it. But here we are. Trojans with a 1st and goal on the Titan 1-yard line. And Mark Aceto just got the Trojans into the end zone.
And he was led by Mike Terrell blocking ahead of him. And that Trojan offensive line of Bismack and Vigliotto.
Well, we've got an opportunity to talk about it. We've got a veteran, experienced, and big offensive line up there. And behind them, we've got a tremendous 1-2 punch in Terrell and Aceto.
You know, Lyman Hall lost 6 of their first 7 games, Frank. And everybody was saying, well, they don't have anything. But since Mike Smith's been the quarterback, this changed, too.
And Chuck, that was a high snap from center. Kevin Marquis, but Aceto managed to bring it down, and right now, we've got a 7-7 ball game.
Just what we expected, Frank. Throw out the books here. Throw out the records when you get to this game.
It didn't look good for the Lyman Hall Trojans. It was 7-0. The Titans were driving again, but All-Stater, Scott Anderson, and those All-Staters come up, the great players come up with the great plays. Scott Anderson made a crucial big-time interception for the Trojans, and now we're looking at a 7-7 dogfight.
And this series has a history of close games, as you know, Frank. 2 years ago it was 7-6 right in this field here, and then last year at Sheehan's Riccatelli Field, it was 14-12.
14-12.
And Lyman Hall was a favorite in that game, a big favorite. They were 9-2.
Once again, credit to Coach Dennis Mannion. He brought 2 underdog squads into both of those games and gave us all we could handle.
You can see the way his kids play for him, Frank. They play hard. They play hard the whole game.
But let's not lose sight of the fact that also in those last 2 games, Coach Atoshin did what he had to do to come home with the Carini Bowl trophy.
That's right.
And he's challenging again this year. And what a tremendous victory this would be.
This would be a major upset this year, considering the records of the 2 teams. However, I think Lyman Hall is much better than their 2-7 record.
Well, Chuck, definitely they are with all the injuries they have. But I'll tell you this, if Lyman Hall manages to win today, this win and momentum will carry us into the 21st century.
I think that would be a very accurate statement to make, Frank.
Drop 36 on the carry. John Gers. Gers, room up the middle. He's going. Gers is out to the 40, 45, 50. He may go all the way, Chuck. The only one left is Scott Anderson. And Anderson manages to corral him at the 12. Once again, a big play by Captain Scott. And we've got a little pushing and shoving out there. We've got a flag down on the play. This may cost Lyman Hall. Chuck, I think this is going to go against Lyman Hall. I think this is going to be unnecessary roughness.
They're pointing in Sheehan's direction. I really don't know at this point.
Chuck, let's see the call. It could go either way. Both boys, Gers and Scott Anderson, were mixing it up, and it is going against the Lyman Hall Trojans. Unsportsmanlike conduct on Lyman Hall. And Chuck, talk about a nail in the coffin. John Gers, just as Lyman Hall ties it up, and we're talking about a possible Lyman Hall victory. Here come those quick strike Titans with a tremendous run back by John Gers.
Well, you talk about winners, and he's a winner. He makes a big-time play right there.
Absolutely. John Gers is such a tremendous athlete, Chuck, as I mentioned at the top of the telecast. He's the type of fellow that I always like to refer to as you could be bowling all your life, and he could pick up a bowling ball within 2 weeks, he'd beat you. And that's distressing for all us people out there, including myself, who really have to work hard for everything we ever got.
I know a few people like that that can do that type of thing.
Tremendous athletes.
John is one of those
people.
people.
They're just gifted, and John Gers is one of those gifted athletes, believe me. He could play any sport.
We don't want to lose sight of the fact that it's a touchdown if another very gifted athlete doesn't overtake him, and that's Scott Anderson.
Absolutely.
Because that looked like 6. But Scott has that tremendous speed.
Well, Chuck,
I needed it to catch
John Gers. Out in the open
Gers.
field, Scott Anderson tracked him down, and there's where your track experience really comes in handy, as you mentioned. Anderson's got the speed. Gers was tired after the long run, and Anderson brought him down. First and goal from the Lyman Hall 7, Chuck.
Give it a shot, Mike. Hold it. Plug it in.
Pat Hart to Tom Baldaracchi. Baldaracchi
Almost in.
brings it down to the Lyman Hall 1, and Mike Anderson, Scott's brother, on the stop. Baldaracchi with a beautiful 6-yard run, and the Sheehan Titans are looking at a second and goal from exactly the 1, Chuck.
I think this time, Frank, you'll see them going wide because they had a lot of trouble going up the middle before when Lyman Hall came very close to pulling off a tremendous goal line stand.
I would beg to differ with you here. I think when you get it down in this red zone, you've got to go through the middle. And guess what? They did, but you were correct. Lyman Hall rose up and stopped him, and number 33.
John Zacco, and that's Mike Terrell again. Who else,
John
right?
Zacco made the initial hit, and Mike Terrell finished him off. And that's a loss of approximately 1.5 yards to 2 yards. And the Sheehan Titans
have a little trouble here with the scoreboard clock of downs here, Frank. It's
Sheehan
third
Titans
down.
are now looking at a 3rd and goal from the Lyman Hall 3. They lost 2 yards. Chuck?
I think they'll have to go wide, Frank.
Let's see what happens. You may be right. Hart back. Nice fake. He's looking to pass.
Oh, nice catch.
Touchdown, Sheehan Titans on a beautiful catch.
Jason Greenlaw, 26.
By number 26, Jason Greenlaw.
He made a nice catch.
Hart froze him at the line, Chuck. Rolled out right. Greenlaw was on a crossing pattern and wide open in the end zone. And he did make a nice catch of a bit of a high ball.
And obviously, Coach Mannion felt he could not go up through the center of the Trojan defense.
Chuck, you call that one right. Just the size and quickness up front predicated the fact that Sheehan went up top and got the score.
Ooh.
Oh,
what a
Chuck,
break.
Another Titan break.
Oh.
The ball, it was a lame duck, a wobbly duck, hit the top of the crossbar and managed to bounce over.
That is a huge break. And, you know, Coach Mannion talked to you before the game, Frank, and he said that he lost 2 years in a row because they could not make extra points.
Well, this year, let me talk about their kicker, Todd Richardson. I know Todd through soccer, and he decided to play football this year and kick for the Titans, and he's the ingredient the Titans needed.
Outstanding kicker. We have 2 outstanding kickers in this game. Scott Anderson is an outstanding kicker, too.
Here's a stat for you, Chuck. Todd Richardson has attempted 26 extra points this year and made 24 of them.
That's very
good. And
good.
for high school, that's an impressive statistic. In the pros and in college, even there, they're not automatic. They're close to it, but in high school,
that is excellent for high school.
24-26 is astronomical, and he's just added the final ingredient to that Sheehan Titan team.
It makes a big difference when you can kick that extra point. You don't have to go for 2.
Absolutely, and Todd's deadly on the field goal tries. That time he got a little lucky. He must be wearing a horseshoe in his pocket because that ball was a wobbly duck, as we said, and just managed to go over the crossbar.
We have to remember in any game, there's always an element of luck involved.
Well, if it comes down to a one-pointer, Chuck, we'll be looking back on that extra point. Titans kicking off.
Let it go out. He stepped out.
Yes, he did. Scott Anderson received the ball on our far sidelines and got a foot out of bounds.
Frank, it's going to be up to the Trojans to answer now. Sheehan answered the Lyman Hall challenge when Lyman Hall went down the field. John Gerst's great run back put them in a position to score, and now Lyman Hall must answer back again.
You know, both coaches, Toshin and Mannion, talked to me about the quick strike capabilities of their Sheehan offenses. And Dennis was really trying to downplay it, but I'll tell you something. There's no downplaying his quick strike capabilities because they can score in a hurry.
Absolutely.
Aceto with a gain of approximately 4 yards up the middle. And from the Lyman Hall 25, the Trojans are looking at a 2nd and 6.
I don't think you'll see Coach Toshin get too fancy here. He'll try to get a couple first downs, and maybe he has 5 minutes. Try to, once again, keep the Sheehan offense off the field.
Well, Chuck, that Sheehan run back had to be a dagger in the heart of both Coach Toshin and the Lyman Hall squad. But let's see what type of character they have here, and let's see if they can muster a drive and come back.
You got a flag.
We've got flags, Chuck, and that means one of two things. It's either a procedure or a delay a game.
83, yeah.
Wrong again, Chuck.
Wow, it's against the Titans.
Chuck, I saw those flags go up early, and I assumed it was going to be procedure, but it's an offsides against the Titans. And now the Lyman Hall squad is looking at a 2nd and long 2 from their own 30. Aceto easily gets the first down and more.
Tackled by Chuck Greenlaw again, who's playing an outstanding game for the Titans.
Well, he's been one of their Rock of Gibraltar's, Chuck, all season long.
It's nice to see him back. He was injured in last year's game.
Correct. I'm glad you brought my attention back to that. He was injured, and it's good to see him back in full force. And right now...
He has a good name, too, Chuck. That's why.
Right now, Lyman Hall enjoys a 1st and 10 on their own 36. Smith up the...
Aceto once again.
Oh, Chuck, it amazes me just how consistently Mark Aceto runs. And a lot of people might credit that to the experienced offensive line up front, and they would be correct. But I'd like to remind people that when in one game against North Haven, when we had 3 or 4 offensive line starters out, Aceto still managed to have a big game.
And he almost single-handedly won the game for the Trojans that night. Whoa, fumble. Throwing it down. This is a break for Lyman Hall, Frank, without a doubt.
That was very, very close. That was a judgment call in the hands of the refs. That could have been blown either way.
Either way, without a doubt. That's a very big, huge break for Lyman Hall.
I would have to say, Chuck, the coach, the ref in front of us here, he had the best vantage point, as we did. And I'm sure he ruled that the fumble was simultaneous to the ball hitting the ground.
That's what he must have ruled, Frank.
Hart back.
No, look out, look out. Oh.
Beautiful catch by Scott Anderson. I said Hart back, but that was Mike Smith who threw a tremendous bullet to Scott Anderson.
He put that one right on the money. And you can see the difference in the Trojan offense as Mike Smith is going to quarterback and put Scott Anderson back out where I think he's much more comfortable as a receiver.
Chuck, you hit the 2 things right on the head there. Smith is a good passer, but he's given another tremendous target in Scott Anderson to throw to.
No question about it.
Smith back once again to the air to Anderson. And we've got another 8-yard gain. And the Trojans are moving the ball now through the air.
This is what Coach Atoshin has to do. He has to get his team down where they have a chance to score. It would be important if they do score. I don't think it's crucial at this point.
Well,
I think it's just keep Sheehan off for the chance to score.
You're right.
Again before the half is over.
It's not essential that we score here, but it is essential at least to give Sheehan poor field position.
Absolutely.
And big Mikey Terrell up the middle for a good gain. Oh,
he is big. He is a big kid.
Let's call that gain approximately 3 yards there. And we've got another Lyman Hall first down.
This is what Coach Atoshin wanted to do. Control the ball, keep Sheehan off the field again. I don't want to sound redundant, but that's what they have to do.
Well, you're absolutely right. Oh, nice
right
catch on the other side by Mike Anderson, the twin brother of Scott Anderson. And, boy, we've got an arsenal of receivers, Chuck.
And we forgot to mention, Mike, unfortunately, this kid is also an outstanding athlete, an outstanding receiver, and he has missed quite a few games this year, too.
Also, Chuck, Scott Anderson gets so much publicity, and deservedly so, that we overlook Mike Anderson, who's a tremendous athlete in his own right.
No question about it.
A wise move, Chuck, I feel, by Coach Atoshin, going back to the ground.
Yes. You got to mix it up, and he is mixing it up today.
You know, there's always the possibility, Chuck, we've been moving that ball through the air well, but I always say 4 things can happen on a pass, and 3 of them are bad.
The old Darrell Royal theory, right?
Absolutely. You could complete it, but the other 3 could be a bad throw by the quarterback, could be dropped, or worst of all, could be intercepted. I much prefer the ground route, and I think at all levels of football, the team that wins consistently and wins the big ones moves the ball on the ground.
Yep, there's no doubt about that, Frank. Another thing that could happen in the pass, you could have the sack and you could be out of field goal position. We have to consider that fact, too, with Scott Anderson. The Lyman Hall could kick a field goal here if they cannot get in the end zone.
Well, one thing I'm thinking of in my mind right now, Chuck, I don't know if it's crossed yours, is I think Coach Atoshin is going to try another running play, or I would not be surprised to see him throw a quick hitter to tight end Chris Plant. Plant has not been used today. He's got sure hands, and he's an impressive offensive figure physically.
He's a big kid, and that is a good call, as you said, Frank. Use the tight end coming over the middle. She may not even expect that.
I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised in the least to see a little dump pass to Chris Plant. Busillo with the reception.
And he gets 5 yards on his own.
And Chuck, we're knocking on the door again here, buddy.
Mark, the presence of mind to catch the ball first, and then he turned upfield, looking for that end zone.
And that's a new wrinkle. Coach Atoshin talked about some new wrinkles in the Lyman Hall offense, and we had not seen Marcusito thrown to this year all that much. And here we are in a crucial situation. Aceto makes the reception.
Well, he has good hands. He's a baseball player, too.
You'll see the ground here. No, we're going to the air. There's Plant. No, Mike Anderson, excuse me. Mike Anderson out in the corner, and he was defended by Keith Crum.
Keith Crum, right.
Who was all over him like a glove.
Outstanding coverage by Keith Crum.
And the ball was slightly overthrown. Smith slightly overthrew it, but maybe, Chuck, in a sense, that was good on that play.
On that play there, I would say so. Plus, it stopped the clock, Frank. And we have what down here? 4th down.
Well, here we go.
Well, this is it in the first half.
Talk about big plays. The Lyman Hall squad needs a yard for a first.
And they're going to forget the field goal. They're going to go for it, Frank.
Let's see what Coach Atoshin has got up his sleeve. What does he have confidence in?
We have a timeout by the officials here. Something is going on, I believe. No, Sheehan.
Timeout, Sheehan Titans. They want to talk it over, Chuck. They realize the importance of this 4th down play.
And their defense has played well.
Chuck, it has. It's no secret to anybody who's been following them that they have given up points this year.
A lot of points, yeah.
They have a respectable defense, and that's being modest. They have better than a respectable defense, but teams have been able to score on them.
Well, they have a lot of two-way starters, too, and I think that takes its toll on defense, Frank. Because you have to work hard on defense.
That seems to be characteristic of Wallingford, Chuck.
Yeah. We're a two high school town.
We're the only 2 high school town in the Hoosie. We have to use players both ways because of the numbers and the size of our high schools. And that one way or another, that's got to take something out of you.
It does when you have to go both ways.
You know, you go play a team like, let's say, the Shelton Gales. I mean, they come out with a squad of 90 kids. There's an awful lot of a pool and a wealth of talent to choose from and to spread out. We've got to depend on kids both ways, and that does take something out of you. It's amazing the Wallingford squads have enjoyed the success they have.
It is. Here we go to play the first half, Frank. And Sheehan rises to the occasion.
Absolutely. Mikey Terrell did not get it. He is stopped.
That's Doug DePasquale, the offensive center and linebacker, I believe it is for the...
Coach Atoshan elected to go with his strength. Big fullback Mike Terrell. And the Sheehan Titans rose up and stopped him cold.
That was a great defensive play.
Well, Chuck, it's unfortunate for our Trojans that we didn't get in, but we did accomplish one objective. We once again showed that we could move the ball, and we've pinned Sheehan back deep.
But we also have to remember, Frank, they can score from anywhere on the field.
Well,
they just have so many weapons.
Chuck, I think both coaches are going to be content, I'm sure, to let the clock run out here.
I'm not sure.
Well, we've got
Coach
21.
He does unpredictable things sometimes.
I doubt if he'd be doing anything risky from this situation.
You're right. You're right. He's going to kneel down.
Pat Hart falls on the ball, and that should be the last play of the first half.
And I think that's a good move because his defense worked so hard there in that last series to make sure the Trojans did not tie the game up. And it's no sense giving it away in
Clock
some foolish
running
play.
down, and Chuck, that's the first half.
And it was a good first half, Frank.
And right
Very
here,
well played first half.
At the 21st Annual Carini Bowl, we're at halftime, and the score is the Sheehan Titans 14 and the Lyman Hall Trojans 7. An impressive, well-played first half by both squads. And Chuck, we're going to break for a brief public service announcement, and then we are going to come back, hopefully, with some stats for our fans and a little review of the scoring in the first half. Right now, we'll break for that brief public service announcement. Welcome back, everyone. We're at halftime here of the 21st Annual Carini Bowl with the score, the Sheehan Titans 14, the Lyman Hall Trojans 7, and it was a tremendous first half of action football. We just got finished being entertained by both bands, the Sheehan Titan Band under the direction of Charlie Houlihan and the Lyman Hall Trojan Band under the direction of Rich Sansucci. And you and I were just commenting, we're tremendously impressed by both bands.
Oh, they were just fantastic, both bands. Excellent job. We haven't seen a show like this in a long time.
Absolutely. And once again, we're at 14-7 in favor of the Titans. And Chucky, while we have an opportunity, why don't you run down our TV production crew for today's game?
Frank, our TV production crew for today's game are Mike Arico, Scott Amore, Tom Caneschi, Carol Krupa, Matt Simjian, and Ken Blakeslee. I know him.
I think so.
In the mobile van, I know this guy too, David Burghardt and Scott Hanley. All right, Frank, what about the first half stats? This is a lot closer game than a lot of people thought, I guess.
Well, Chucky, let's get into those first half stats. As I mentioned, it's Sheehan 14, Lyman Hall 7, and first I'll run down the leading Titans. Keith Crum rushed for 4 times for 16 yards and 1 touchdown. Tom Balderacci, 7 rushes for 36 yards. Kyle Here, 1 rush for an impressive 29 yards. Quarterback Pat Hart was 2 for 3 in passing for only a limited 6 yards, and he had 1 interception and 1 TD. There's a surprise, Chuck, because the high-flying Titans have moved that ball through the air consistently this year, and they only managed 6 yards. Kyle Hare had 1 reception for 4 yards, and their big fella there, Greenlaw, what's his first name, Chucky?
Chuck.
Chuck, well, how did you remember that, Chuck? Chuck Greenlaw had 1 catch for 2 yards.
That was his brother. I'm sorry, Frank. Chuck is the defensive player, Lyman. I'm sorry. That's Jason. That's his younger brother.
Jason Greenlaw with that 1 catch for 2 yards and a TD.
That was a good catch, too.
On the Lyman Hall side of the ledger, The Trojans were led by Marcusito. Here's an impressive stat, Chuck. 13 carries for 103 yards. How many times in the 21-year history of the Carini Bowl have we seen someone run for 100 yards in the first half?
That is an amazing stat.
Mike Terrell has 10 rushes for 28 yards and 1 touchdown. Quarterback Mike Smith had 1 carry for 23 yards. And quarterback Smith was 5 for 8 in passing for 70 yards, 64 yards more than the Titans. Scott Anderson had 3 receptions for 47 yards. Mike Anderson had 1 catch for 17 yards. And Marcusito even got into the aerial act with 1 catch for 6 yards.
Right.
Chuck, that's where we stand?
And I think the big play right now, the Trojans have out-rushed and out-passed the Titans, but the big play of the game right now for the Titans is John Gerse's long kickoff return.
Well,
and that swung the tide back in favor of the Titans in the first half.
Chuck, as we mentioned, big athletes rise up and
Always.
make big plays. And John Gertz put a big nail in the Lyman Hall coffin on that big run back. And you're right. As we're going through these statistics, you and I were surprised to see that Lyman Hall, offensively and defensively, you'd have to say, has outplayed Sheehan.
They have outplayed him except for that one big play. And, again, Sheehan is a big play team.
Well,
and
big
they proved it there.
Let's say this. They were outplayed, but we look at the scoreboard right now, and it's Sheehan 14, Lyman Hall 7, Chucky, and I guess that's all that matters.
That's the only place that counts, Frank. You're absolutely right.
And here we go.
We have the sun coming out. It's a beautiful day. It was a wise move to play today instead of Thursday.
The Trojan Scott Anderson is going to be kicking off to Sheehan. And let's remind our fans, on the opening kickoff, after the first play, Lyman Hall fumbled and Sheehan took possession.
Yes, and the Trojan defense stopped them in that series, but then later on they gave the ball back again, and the second time around, Sheehan came through with a touchdown. Big play being the 29-yard run by Hare.
Chuck, this game is obviously up for grabs, but I'm impressed with the job Lyman Hall has done so far, and they are very much in this ball game against a high-flying Sheehan squad.
I think Coach Toshin has to be happy at this point, Frank. That's Gers again. He wants the ball.
Chuck, correction there. That was number 80, Jim Rath. Jim Rath made the reception and took it upfield and into Lyman Hall territory. Once again, Sheehan enjoys tremendous field position. And a short kick there by Scott Anderson
That was
could
a very
prove to
short
be
kick.
costly.
Sheehan now had twice in the first half they had ideal for, inside of Lyman Hall 50.
Wow.
Now once again they're inside of Lyman Hall 50.
Right now they've got the ball on the Lyman Hall 46, and if you're Coach Atoshin and the Trojan squad, you do not want an offensive series to start on your own 46.
And now we have a penalty on top of it, I believe.
Chuck, as you mentioned at the top of the telecast, when you're snake bit, you're snake bit.
Face mask violation.
And we've got
That's a costly penalty for the Trojans.
Oh, my goodness.
It's now on the 31-yard line.
The Titans are going to be starting from the 31. And Chuck, we haven't even had a play from scrimmage yet. And already we've got a crucial series coming up.
It's been a key in the first half, the Titans field position.
Hart with the handoff to number 21, Keith Crum.
Jeff Wolcheski and Kevin Bismack on the stop.
Nothing doing there, Chuck. Hardly any gain at all.
Wolcheski's played a very solid game in the middle today for the Trojans.
Well, Jeff Rocheski, if you ever see his physical stature, as I see him walking through the halls, he's built to play football, Chuck.
Yep. He's got a big heart, tough player.
Absolutely, and he's small. He's small in stature, but solid, and once again, heart of a lion there.
Official timeout.
Frank, I think it's absolutely crucial that Lyman Hall prevents the Titans from scoring at all on this series here.
We can allow some yards, possibly even a field goal, but I would agree with you. We cannot afford to give up a touchdown to the Titans here.
2nd and 10.
Hart back to pass. Way overthrown. The intended receiver was number 80. Once again, Jim Rath.
Jim Rath, yeah.
But that ball was overthrown by a good 5 yards.
We had Sean McNulty defending on the play. He had him covered pretty good.
And speaking of consistency, Sean McNulty, only a junior, he's been one of the leading Trojan defenders this year. He's done an excellent defensive job. And I have a feeling next year we're going to see Sean McNulty on the offensive side of the ball as well.
I think you will. He was thrown to the fire this year on defense. He's done a pretty good job for him.
3rd down and 10 for the Titans. Hart once again back to pass. Oh, we had a little screen very well set up, but it's off the hands of Tom Baldaracci.
Tom Baldaracci has played an excellent game so far.
Chucky, is that Baldaracci or Baldaracci?
I am not sure. We'll have to ask somebody here.
Let's ask one of our Sheehan people back here, Mr. Balo. Is that Baldaracci or Baldaracci? Well, I just asked for 2 opinions, and I got Baldaracci and Baldaracci. So we're back where we started.
Baldaracci, okay.
4th down, Sheehan Titans, and they're going for it. 4th and 10. Here comes Keith Crum.
Looks like he has it, Frank.
Chuck.
That's a big play.
A well-conceived play. The handoff went to Crum, who swept the left end, and believe me, that was a time when the Trojans had to rise up.
I think
they did not.
They might have been looking for a pass in that play. Or a 4th down
It's
situation.
a 1st and 10 for the Titans, and the Trojans needed to stop that 4th down play.
I think we're going to see Sheehan go to the air more in the second half, Frank. They only threw 3 passes in the first half, as you already mentioned.
Well, Chuck, there's a time when the run got them the 1st down, but let's see what happens here.
Surprise play
1st and 10, Titans from the 20. Oh, big run here. Number 32, Kyle Hare just broke one to the right side, outside.
He slipped out of a tackle, made an outstanding run. And this is what Sheehan wants to do, I think, Frank. They want to go outside. And Lyman Hall, it's a must for them to keep Sheehan in the middle of the field. That's where they have to keep the Titans. If Sheehan goes outside with speed, Lyman Hall is going to be in for a long afternoon here in the
so
second
far
half.
early in the second half, it's obvious that Coach Mannion must have been talking about going outside because they've done it successfully on 2 plays here. And it's 1st and goal for the Titans. Pat Hart with the pitch to Baldaracci.
Nice defensive play.
Oh, Baldaracci corralled number 88, Mike Anderson, on a tremendous open field stop.
That was a big play. He was heading for the end zone. That was 6.
2nd and goal from the 5-yard line.
2nd and goal. You probably heard our public address announcer, Mike Germanese, just announce it. I'm stealing his calls. It's 2nd and goal from the Titans.
He may be in.
Baldaracci again, close to a TD. Sheehan's looking for it, but they're not going to get it. It is not a TD. 3rd and goal. Baldaracci with a 4-yard gain.
Inside the 1-yard line.
Let's see if
Chuck,
the Titans go up the middle here, Frank. They haven't been successful against the Trojan defense in the middle.
deja vu here. We were in this situation when Sheehan made the first score of the ball game, and here we are, 3rd and goal from the 1.
Same end zone, too. He's in. Baldaracci, he's having an outstanding day.
Let's credit the Sheehan offensive front, specifically the left side of the Sheehan offensive front, for opening up a tremendous hole for Baldaracci. Nobody even got a hand on him.
You got Neil Bilodeau on the left side there, number 63.
Well, Chuck, we stand right now at Sheehan with a 20-7 lead, and they got excellent field position at the Lyman Hall 46, and quickly took it all the way down and in for the score. Oh, blocked.
Jeff Walczewski. Jeff Walczewski and Mark Aceto.
Jeff Walczewski and Aceto right up the middle. And Chuck, it's too early to tell, but that missed extra point could be costly later on in the ballgame.
I'm sure Coach Mannion's over going, oh, no, not again, because that was, again, the difference the last 2 years, the extra points.
Well,
however, I think
Richardson was 24 for 26. He is now 24 for 27, but don't fault Todd Richardson on that. It was the penetration of Jeff Walczewski and Mark Aceto.
Right, when a kick is blocked, you can't fault the kicker. That means the line is broken down.
Walczewski rises up with a big play.
This is not the position the Trojans want to be in, though, coming from behind.
Absolutely not.
And they don't want to get in a scoring battle with Sheehan. I'm almost sure of that.
Well, Chuck, we're primarily a ball control team. We like to grind it out with Mike Terrell up the middle, and then that allows Aceto to run wild. And, of course, our passing game is predicated on our running game, probably more so than a lot of other teams. Sheehan can go either way, but we need the running game to advance the ball through the air. Sheehan kicking off here, number 40.
It's Richardson, right?
That is Todd Richardson. Richardson kicks.
That's going to be a tough one to handle, too. Somebody's offside
Busillo with
here.
the ball.
Somebody's offsides. They whistle it even before the play could even start. They whistle it.
Let's see what the call is, Chuck. Offsides for Lyman Hall Trojans once again.
Lyman Hall making costly mistakes.
And broadcast partner, that's certainly been one of the telltale things about this ball game is the Lyman Hall High School penalties.
Twice after kickoff returns, they were penalized. 15
And
yards both times.
Don't forget the unnecessary roughness down
That
there
was
on
the one,
John
yeah.
Gerz's run.
Yeah, that was half the distance to the goal line because he ran
Costly.
it back so far. Sheehan's field position has been inside the 54 times in
Richardson
this game.
tees it up on the 45. And off it goes. Another deep kick to Aceto. Aceto receives it on the 3-yard line. He's out to the 20, 25. Mark Aceto with a 22-yard run back, and Lyman Hall will get possession with a 1st and 10 on their own 25.
That was a good kick, Frank. He pinned Mark way back there. Mark makes a nice return on it. Richardson's kick was a boomer. That was a long one.
You know, the one thing I like about Coach Mannion and Todd Richardson on the kickoff game is sometimes he has kicked deep to Aceto. Sometimes he has gone for the sidelines. He's mixed it up. We can't get into a rhythm on our returns.
You're absolutely right. You can't tell where they're going to kick the ball. There's no pattern.
Mike Smith goes back, rolls left.
Mike Terrell.
Wide open, Mike Terrell. Now there's another new wrinkle, Chucky, that I did not see earlier in the year. Once again, Coach Atoshin talked to me about new wrinkles, and he explained some of them to me, and that's one of them. He had quarterback Mike Smith roll out to the left side, and he dragged Mikey Terrell across the field for a 15-yard gain. And how often have we seen Mike Terrell catch a pass?
Not too often. I think it's about his second of the year. Of course, he did miss 5 games.
Mark Aceto going right. And
that was Jason Greenlaw. 26.
Jason Greenlaw with a big stop on Mark Aceto for a gain of approximately 3 inches.
I think the Titans are ready for that play. They saw that one coming. That was right side off tackle. The Trojans have to answer here. That's I don't see any other thing happening.
Chuck, it may be my imagination. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I seem to feel that looking back, we've made a lot more yards to the left-hand side of the field today than we have to the right.
Yeah, you're right. Here's Scott Anderson again. And he's
Anderson with a beautiful reception.
That's the first down, I believe.
Close to it. It's going to be close. I think we might be a little short, Chuck.
I'm not sure about this marking here. It looked like he had made it, but I guess his back foot went out of bounds first.
And, Chuck, going back to making yards both in the air and on the ground on the left-hand side for Lyman Hall, let's remind our people at home that quarterback Mike Smith is left-handed.
He's a left-hander. That's a very good point, Frank.
And he feels most comfortable, of course, when he rolls out to the left-hand side.
Trojans need a first down.
Third and one, a big third down situation for the Trojans. And
they knew
Mike Terrell,
they knew who was getting it.
Well, no secret there. The Titans read the Trojan playbook. They knew Mikey Terrell was coming up the middle, and they stopped him for an actual loss.
That was linebacker John Gers again. And also Jason Greenlaw and Mike Boudreau on that play.
And
a whole bunch of Titans.
That was a 1-yard loss.
I think you're going to see Lyman Hall go for it here. Maybe not, but I think they really have to, even though it's early. Frank.
Chuck, I might agree with you. Lyman Hall might have to go with it here. We only have.
There's Mike Anderson punting, though.
Well, Coach Atoshin has decided why chance and put the game on the line early here. Let's boot it deep and try and count on our defense. Let's see if it pays off. Watch out for the fake, though, Chuck.
It's a low snap.
Oh, we've got some flags down on the play. Beautiful punt by Mike Anderson. It's rolling deep. It's at the Sheehan 6.
Now it's all going to depend on who the penalty is on, Frank.
Let's check the flags. Let's see who this is going against. This could be a first down for the Trojans if it's against the Titans.
Yep.
Big flag.
This could be a key call in the game. An eligible man downfield against
once
the Trojans.
Again, offsides. No, that wasn't an offsides. Chuck, did you happen to pick up the call?
An eligible man downfield, Frank.
Costly.
I'm sorry, not an ineligible man downfield. It wasn't offsides. Too many men on the field. Okay, we got it straight here.
Chuck, I saw him go for his head. I wasn't sure what the call was. The ref put his hands on his head. But, very costly for Lyman Hall, Chuck.
Outstanding kick by Mike Anderson, too.
Punt by Mike Anderson that would have nailed Sheehan back at their own 6-yard line. But instead, Lyman Hall has to re-kick.
Well, we have a lot of time, and it's a good, we're saying go for it, but that's why we're up here and Coach Atoshin's down there.
Well,
he's been around a long time. And, right now, Lyman Hall needs good field position for a change.
Absolutely. Looking back, Chuck, my old Lyman Hall blood was boiling there looking for us to go for it, but Coach Atoshin made the smart decision there because if you miss, you virtually, early at this juncture, start handing the game to the Sheehan Titans.
That's right. Well, he has 3 or 4 Hoosie titles and a state championship, so.
Believe me, Coach Atoshin knows his business, and he's one of the best in it. People who second-guess him.
That's a nice hanger.
Well, Chuck.
Well, we just see it cost Lyman Hall about 32 yards on that penalty.
Absolutely. That penalty there, another critical penalty, cost Lyman Hall, Chuck. You are right, 30-plus yards. And boy, did that hurt. We would have had Sheehan back deep. Of course, with the Sheehan offense, they could probably score from out on Whartonbrook Drive.
I'd still rather have them back on the 5 than on their own.
Absolutely.
40.
But here we go.
Well, it's imperative not the Trojan defense prevents Sheehan from scoring again.
Sheehan once again with excellent field position on their own 47-yard line. 1st and 10. Oh, nice quick hitter. 5 yards up the middle by Kyle Hare. And once again, an outstanding hole was opened up by the center of the Sheehan offensive line. Quick hitter for a beautiful 5 yards.
On the offensive line, you have Alex Mezzi and Frank Capuzzo, Neil Bilodeau, and they're starting to do a job. They're starting to move the Lyman Hall people back.
The Sheehan offensive line did what they had to do. They actually trapped Mike Terrell and took him out of the play.
That's right. That's what you have to do.
Balderaki up the middle.
Balderaki, the ball carrier.
Terrell and plan on this.
It's going to be 3rd and I'd say 2. Chuck,
key play early in the second half, but still a key play.
3rd down, ball is placed on the 40.
Coach, key play is the word. You are absolutely right.
Lyman Hall needs a big play right now, Frank. They need a big
Chuck,
play, something to turn the momentum of this second half.
Does the word
around.
fumble go through your mind
Yes,
right
it
now?
does.
Because that is something that the Trojans need.
Here's a blitz, maybe.
That it is. Here come the Trojans.
Somebody's offside, though.
Flags on the play. Play is locked in.
Chuck, if it is. We got a break there, Chuck. I'm with you. Was ready to call an offsides Lyman Hall, but we got an illegal procedure Sheehan for a costly 5 yards.
I think what happened, Frank, is the linebackers and defensive backs coming up looking like they're going to blitz made one of the Sheehan offensive line players move.
Chuck,
caused the offsides.
A penalty like that is so crucial because Sheehan was looking at a 3rd and 3 with a lot of options in that situation, and now they're looking at a 3rd and 8, and it greatly restricts your capabilities of what you can use.
Almost certainly it's a passing down right now.
Well, either they're going to go wide here with a run or they're going to go back and pass. One of the two. Fake by Hart. Oh, Hart is hit.
John Zacco.
Sack.
John Zacco.
And Chuck, that's defensive coordinator Steve Hoag's genius. He figured that Sheehan would be passing, and he blindsided Hart with John Zacco from the blind side.
That's the Lyman Hall cornerback coming up on the blitz, right?
And believe me, Zacco came in untouched.
This is his first year out. He's a hard hitter.
Well,
for
credit
a small
Zacco,
guy.
but more so than that, credit defensive coordinator Steve Hoag.
Oh, yes, without a doubt. He does an outstanding job year after year, Frank. And that's the big play the Trojans needed right there.
That's the one. That's the one, Chuck.
Now maybe they can get another one if Mark could.
Lyman Hall
home
should be
here.
getting this ball back in good field position. High snap. He can't get it off.
Oh,
Lyman
big play.
Hall,
Oh.
big play. It was a high snap, and the Sheehan punter could not get it off, and wisely tucked it in and decided to run because that thing could have been blocked. And we also had a penalty on Sheehan, which of course was declined by the Trojans. And what a break here, Chuck.
This is what the Lyman Hall Trojans need to swing around this game, Frank, because
This
they
is
were
the break
reeling.
we talked about. We talked about a fumble, but this is just as bigger in fact.
I would think so. 2 big plays in a row. John Zacco on the sack, and then
Oh, here we go.
high snap.
Lyman Hall with the ball on the Sheehan 33. 1st and 10. Fumble. Uh-oh. Oh, Chuck. Just as fate would have it,
Guess who? John Gers.
just as fate would have it, there was a bad exchange between Kevin Marquis and Mike Smith. The ball hit the ground, and as you said, no surprise, guess who covered it? John Gers.
Frank, you think John came to play today? It looks like he's here, huh?
John laces him up every day.
Without a doubt.
But Chuck, a terrible break
That's-
for the Lyman Hall Trojans, and a tremendous lift for the Sheehan Titans. Keith Crump to the outside, and look at this.
I think he got a first down.
Well, Chuck, I'm going to tell you what happened here at halftime, and I wasn't in the locker room, but I'll guarantee you, Dennis Mannion told me at the top of the telecast that he felt they had to run inside. I think he found out in the first half that they could not do it, and I'm sure that he went in the locker room at halftime and said, scrap it, boys. We are going to do what got us here. We
That's
are going
right.
to run to the outsides with our speed, and we are going to go to the air and make yards, and he's been doing it successfully here in the second half.
That's correct, Frank.
And just as I speak, there's a run up the middle, Chucky.
Well, now what he's done is he's added a little diversity again to the offense. Again, I thought the Trojans have to make the Titans play in the middle of the field. And with their speed, if they get outside, they're an extremely dangerous team.
Good call, Chuck. And that might be another thing that Mannion said. Let's establish the run. Let's do it in the reverse. Let's establish the run to the outside, and then we'll go back up the middle.
That's right. Well,
Now
he has a lot of
Sheehan
weapons.
with the ball once again in Lyman Hall territory at the Lyman Hall 49. First down. Kyle Hare just would not be brought down. He was gang tackled by a host of Trojans, and it looks like they were led by number 46, Mark Jeremiah, on the stop.
That play by Gers may have taken the wind out of the Trojan sails because it looks like now they're reeling again.
Chuck, Lyman Hall is not a team that quits, but I'll tell you, after that turnover,
They're also not a comeback team, a come from behind team. So I think that's a very
well, I would
important
say if Sheehan puts one more up on the board, Baldaraki that time with a pop between the left end and tackle for an impressive gain. Another first down for the Sheehan Titans.
They are moving the ball, and they're moving it pretty much at will right now, Frank.
Well, as you said, Chuck, and aptly so, that turnover had to take the wind out of the Trojan sails.
Well, you have the defense playing well, getting the ball back for the offense, good field position, and they turn it right back to the Sheehan.
What you need is the big defensive play here. Oh, Hart laid it up a little too far.
Jason Bjornborg.
Jason Bjornberg, he was out there and he was open, but
He was open.
Hart just could not deliver it.
Oh, there's a surprise right there coming out where you're running the ball, and then Coach Mannion goes to the air and try to catch the Trojans by surprise. It almost did.
As Phil said, Dennis Mannion will strike anywhere, anytime, from any portion of the field. And let's face it, that's it's tough to defend, Coach, to say the least.
There's too many guys out there that they're all capable of scoring on the
Chad Hart,
Sheehan team.
2nd and 10 now. Hart with the handoff to the right.
We're
Big
going
gain.
to have a penalty.
It looks like it's all going to be negated by a motion penalty.
I think it's a clip, Frank.
Well, number 2, Kyle Hare, once again with a beautiful run to the outside.
You are seeing the Titans get outside now. And if they get outside, look out.
Chuck, you're right. It is not motion. Looks like we have a clip, an unfortunate clip on the Titans, and that ball is going to be going back 15 yards.
Well, right now, Lyman Hall need this to slow the Titans down because the Titans are driving right down the field.
Well, Chuck, meanwhile, time moves on. We've got 1:06 left in the third quarter, and time starts to be a factor here for the Trojans. We've got to get that ball back, and we've got to get it back on this possession.
I would think so. They have to get it back, and they have to score when they get it. Pretty important job right now, Frank, is stop the Titans.
Well, we've got a second and a bundle. Let's see what the Titans come up with.
Look at this.
Once again.
Look at this.
Keith Crum outside to the left. And Chuck, that's about a 4 to 5 yard gain. But while I have an opportunity, let me tell you something about the Sheehan offense. The Sheehan team loves to run outside, and what they do is they pull their guard or tackle or both outside to lead the play. They've got the quickness in the line. They're small in size, but they've got the quickness in the line to get those guard tackles in and out there to lead the sweeps. And they've done it effectively all year, and no team has been able to stop it.
No, nobody has stopped them. Cheshire didn't even stop them. They just outscored them.
Well, once you do and you start playing outside, they burn you with the pass of the inside game. They're just too talented. Oh, number 32, Kyle Hare, and what a tackle he broke.
Bigliotto brings him down.
33, Zacco put a lick. Zacco put a lick on the ball carrier, but he just stumbled, hopped over him, kept on going. That's agility for you, Chuck.
Now we have a key third down play again, Frank.
Well, once again, we've been here before, Chuck. This game has been made up of key plays.
That's the end of the third quarter.
Well, Chuck, with 3 quarters or 75% of the game down and in the books, right now we are seeing a score of the Sheehan Titans 20 and Lyman Hall 7. And, Chuck, tough task for Lyman Hall.
Yeah, they're not a comeback team. They have put points on the board the last couple of weeks.
Well,
but they're not a come-from-behind type of team.
12 minutes to come back. Sheehan has the ball. It looks pretty dismal or bleak for the Trojans, but I'll tell you this. Once again, what Lyman Hall needs is a big play. A key play, a turnover. They've got to get the ball back, and they've got to get it in good field position.
That's a good point, Frank. Once again, the defense is going to have to make the big play for Lyman Hall. They're going to have to turn the game around. They're out there. They're the ones who are going to have to do it.
Well, Chuck, so far in the second half, Sheehan has definitely had the better of it. They've shown the capacity to move the ball. There's the kick. Aceto decides to let it bounce, and Lyman Hall's going to get the ball as we're competing with the band here, Chuck.
Yeah, they're very loud, but they're very good, too.
Lyman Hall is going to get the ball on their own 14-yard line, and not what you would call tremendous field position.
They got kind of a break, though. It wasn't a real good punt. It hung up, and it didn't take a bounce in favor of the Titans. Took a Trojan bounce, if anything else.
I think that punt was deliberate, Chuck, because he had to hang it up. Otherwise, it would have gone into the end zone. We would have had it on the 20.
That is a very good point. Sorry, some kind of pooch kick or something there.
I think Coach Mannion has to be happy with that punt.
Yeah.
Ball on the Lyman Hall 15, 1st and 10. Time becoming a factor.
Movement. Movement here.
Chuck, let's see what happens. I think that one, well, before I say.
I think it's offensive, Lyman. Yes, offensive.
It's going against the Trojans. There was a lot of movement at the interior of that line on both squads, but Lyman Hall moved first, and it's a 5-yard penalty. And Chuck, once again, I hate to belabor the point, but this has been a game of Trojan mistakes.
Trojan mistakes, and the field position is crucial. The Titans have had a better field position all afternoon, or all morning, I should say.
1st and 15 from the Lyman Hall 10, and they're in a hole.
Well, now they need a big play by their offense.
Yep, Aceto gets the 5 yards back, but
Frank,
at the expense of a down. And now we've got 2nd and 10 from the 15.
Frank, we've been talking all morning about the Titan offense, but this defense is doing a pretty good job against the Lyman Hall offense that has been scoring of late. They've scored 44, they scored 21 and 35 points in the last 3 games.
We mentioned the 1-2 punch of the Titans, Mike Terrell and Mark Aceto, and let's give credit to the Sheehan defense, as you said. They've done an excellent job today.
That's a nice play.
Beautiful defensive play.
Sean Grodzicki. Sean Grodzicki with an outstanding play.
Grodzicki played that perfectly. It looked like Anderson was going to make the reception, but Grodzicki swooped down like an eagle, Chucky, and broke that one up.
Very fine defensive play. The Titan defense is coming up big here. It looks like the Sheehan team is playing with a lot more emotion in the second half.
Absolutely. I'm sure they have to be disappointed by not getting into the state playoffs. They deserve to be there, but the fact is they've got Ansonia in that S bracket, and
right.
Ansonia is a lock almost every year for one of those 2 spots in the championship game. So Sheehan was vying for 1 spot, and one loss, you could almost not make that championship game in S, Chucky, and have a perfect record. It's been done before.
It happens. It does happen.
And Ansonia, year after year, is a perennial powerhouse and undefeated. And it's unfortunate that the Titans are shut out of that championship game.
It is, because they have an excellent football.
Well, I would have loved to have seen them there.
There's Scott Anderson.
Oh, beautiful pass by Smith. He threaded the needle between 2 Titan defenders, and Scott Anderson made the reception.
You hit it right in the head, Frank. That pass was picture perfect.
Oh, I am impressed with Mike Smith here. This is his first year. Actually, first year. This is only his 3rd or 4th game at quarterback, and he is looking impressive. Did he thread the needle there?
We're going to see him all next year, too. He's just a junior. He's coming back.
He's a big plus coming back from a otherwise depleted Trojan squad next year. Smith back with the quick hitter in the flat. Oh!
Scott Anderson wanted to run before he had the ball on that one, Frank.
Absolutely, Chuck. You saw the same thing I did. Anderson had visions of the end zone dancing in his head, and he took off before he corralled the ball.
He just had 1 defender out there to beat, too. That's probably what he saw out of the corner of his eye. He was ready to go.
Chuck, as you know, what's the first thing the coach always tells you on that play?
Catch the ball first.
Catch the ball first and then turn upfield.
That's right. Look for a draw or something on this one, Frank.
2nd and 10. Smith back. Pressure. Nice play by the Sheehan defense. Number 62.
Chuck Greenlaw again.
Chucky Greenlaw, one of the captains of the Titan squad, with a big defensive play. That time the big Trojan line couldn't hold him out. And Smith had no time to let it go.
And Lyman Hall's in a big hole right here, Frank. If they have to cough it up, they're going to give Sheehan outstanding field position.
We're looking at 3rd and 14 now, and if Coach Atoshin has any big play tricks in his bag, this is the time, and he's going out in the field to talk about it. Chuck, this could be the game right here.
I think you're probably right, Frank, because 13 points with under 10 minutes is going to be tough for a team that likes to drive down the field, doesn't have a lot of big plays.
Well, Lyman Hall needs a big play, and as I said, Coach Atoshin is out in the field to talk about it, but on the defensive side, here comes Coach Mannion running out, and he's going to be barking his defensive instructions. These 2 coaches are no strangers to each other. They scout almost every one of each other's games, and they know their tendencies. They know what they're comfortable with each other is comfortable in doing. And now this becomes a mind game right now, Chucky.
Most definitely. And, you know, they had the bragging rights to Wallingford for a year, whoever wins this game, and that's important. You don't see the kids from the other towns. So.
And as we mentioned before, Lyman Hall has had a disappointing season. Sheehan has had a tremendous season, but it's been disappointing for them in that they didn't get into the championship game or didn't win the Hoosie. Let's see what happens here. 3rd and 14. Smith back. Smith's going to run. Smith's got room. He's upfield.
Now
Chucky. Chuck, as they say on those commercials on TV, you make the call. 9:28 left in the ball game.
Flipping on Lyman Hall.
Well, that changes that you make the call there, Chuck.
I think Sheehan will refuse it because it's a punting situation for Lyman Hall right now.
I think they'll accept.
Think they'll accept it? Let him go again? You might be right.
Well, let's see what happens. Let's see what Coach Mannion decides to do.
I think I'd take it myself. Pin him back there.
The distance is a factor, and they are going to take it.
Because 4th and 5, Lyman Hall might gamble.
4th and 5, they could gamble. But now you've got a third and a bundle. It looks like almost
20?
a 3rd and 20.
Yeah.
3rd down for Lyman Hall.
3rd and 20, and actually, Chuck, there's not much you can do. Your options are very limited here. Smith obviously has got to go up top.
Got to get the ball in the hands of Busillo or Anderson.
He's got to gain 20 yards. let's see what happens. We've got a triple formation on the right-hand side, but it goes to
blockers.
Terrell.
Great play, a defensive play.
Smart play by Coach Atoshin. He had a triple alignment out here on the right-hand side with the Anderson brothers, led by the Anderson brothers. And he elects to go underneath to Mike Terrell. There's another new wrinkle.
And there was a bunch of blockers out in front of Mike Terrell, but once again, Chuck Greenlaw comes up with an outstanding defensive play. Gets in there and makes a tackle.
We've got a 4th down and 13 here, and Coach Atoshin has no choice but to punt it away and rely on his defense. And what he needs here
is a fumble of a punt.
Barring a Sheehan run back, he needs a quick 3 and out for the Titans on the next series.
He could use a fumble right here.
Oh, beautiful kick.
That's a great
beautiful
kick.
kick.
All right.
Well, the Trojans caught a break there.
Now, believe it or not, Frank, this is one of the worst field positions that the Titans have had all afternoon.
They've had the field position all day, unfortunately, Chuck.
I keep thinking it's the afternoon. It's the morning, right? Or is it? No, it's afternoon. Well,
Chuck,
that's just a
we've got 3 minutes
right?
to afternoon here. For our fans at home, who knows what time it is right now? They could be watching this game at 4 in the morning.
Yeah, that's true. It's a minute point anyhow. The important thing is that the Titans lead 20-7 with 8:26 to go.
Well, Chuck, this entire game for Lyman Hall is moot unless we stop Sheehan on this drive. We've got to have him 3 and out.
Or a turnover.
Hart goes back to pass. He airs it out here. Oh, nice reception.
That's a big play again.
It looked
82.
like number 82.
Shane Dorsey. We haven't heard from him yet today.
Shane Dorsey. There's a name that's been around Sheehan forever. Shane Dorsey comes up with a big play. And that's the first opportunity we've had to call his name today, Chuck.
On offense, yeah, that was his first catch of the day.
Shane Dorsey, a multi-sport athlete, just came up with one of the biggest catches of his career.
There you go, Coach Man. You know, everybody figures, well, you got the lead, 2 touchdowns, run the ball, run the clock out. He goes to the air.
Well, as Coach Atoshin said, you never know what Mannion is going to do, and he proved it there. First down, Titans. Nice. Oh, a little conservative inside hitter, Chucky, that brings the ball up to the Lyman Hall 49. And Sheehan's looking at a 2nd and 8, and they're knocking on the door to getting into Trojan territory. What we said, Chucky, that Sheehan finally did not get good field position when they got the punt. They got it back and one quick strike.
Real quick. And they are real quick as a team.
Here we go. 2nd and 8 for the Titans at their own 48-yard line. The pitch goes to Baldaraki, going wide around the outside right. He's got a big gainer. He's out in the open. Brought down once again by number 3, Scott Anderson.
The ball did come loose, but they ruled that the ball was blown dead.
Well,
and I think what we're seeing here, maybe, Frank, is the Trojan defense looks like they're a little bit tired. It looks like they may be getting worn down by the Sheehan offense.
Absolutely, a beautiful one by Baldaraki, but once again, Coach, the Lone Ranger, Scott Anderson, comes out of nowhere to make the stop.
He has saved at least 3 touchdowns today with tackles.
Chuck,
She may have scored later, but
we got to be looking at Scott Anderson as one of the players of the game here. He's played a tremendous game, but we'll save that for later. Pat Hart with the ball.
Look at this.
He hands off to number 21.
Nice play.
Keith Crum. Oh, fumble!
That ball's
fumble!
loose.
Yes, Lyman Hall ball.
There you go,
Chuck,
big break.
There's the break we needed. Just as Sheehan was driving for a touchdown, Lyman Hall gets a turnover.
Give credit to Sean McNulty on that play. He makes a stop. He doesn't let him get outside, and I think he stripped him of the ball, too.
Well, it looks like Sean McNulty and Jeff Wojcicki.
Jeff Wojcicki playing an outstanding game for Lyman Hall, too.
And it's Lyman Hall ball, just as it looked like Sheehan was about to put the finishing touches on the 21st annual Carini Bowl. Up comes Mr. Turnover, and Lyman Hall's got new life, Chuck.
The ball has to go in the hands of Marcus Cito somewhere here. We haven't seen him much in the second half.
Here's where Lyman Hall needs a Cito to break his patented big one.
That's right.
That's pass interference.
Kyle Hare,
that ball was beautifully thrown by Mike Smith.
Keith Crum, I guess, gets the interference call. He was hanging on a little bit.
He was over the back, and I think it was number 15. I'm not sure. I think it might have been number 15, Brendan Farley.
Brendan Farley? Okay. I saw that.
Chuck, you might be right.
Crum was there. It could be Farley.
No, it looks like it was Crum.
Well,
I see Farley grabbing Crum's helmet.
They're ruling no penalty now, Frank.
Well,
it was pretty well timed. It didn't look like an obvious penalty.
Chucky, we were shielded from the play up here in the press box, but it could have gone either way. We saw the defender lean around, but we couldn't see if there was contact or not.
I thought Anderson dropped the ball, but then again,
Second and 10 from the Lyman Hall 20. Smith back to pass. Oh! Off the fingertips of Mike Anderson, but once again, number 21, Keith Crum.
Keith Crum got a lot of speed.
Tremendous defensive coverage there.
Well, he's got the speed, and he's covering them. They know the Trojans have to go to the air right now, so Sheehan's
that's one of
ready.
the individual matchups that Coach Atoshin talked about today. He thought the game would be won in the individual matchups, and we've got a good one there in Mike Anderson and Keith Crum.
And Mike's defensive ball was thrown a little bit behind him, I think.
Well, it was catchable, though,
But
Chuck.
it was catchable.
I'll have to say that.
And Mike Smith has not been off too much on his passes today.
Once again, we had a good vantage point on that one up in the press box here, and I saw Mike Anderson look away.
He may have been looking upfield, too. I think that may be a little bit of panic setting in here. They want to score quickly. And that's not really necessary to gauge. If they can score, that's the thing. You have to score first.
6:03 left in the ball game. Lyman Hall is looking at a 3rd and 10, and if ever they needed a first down, Chuck, time is winding down. Time a big factor now, and the Trojans need a first down.
If they have any chance, I think they have to convert this 3rd down play. If they're going to have any chance to win this game. Here's the band again, Frank.
Well, Chuck, we're competing with the band, and believe me, we're no match for the band. I mean, both of you are known to be a little bit boisterous, but we can't match the band.
Here's the key play, Frank.
Here we go. Key play. Lyman Hall, 6:03 left in the game. 3rd and 10, deep in their territory. Smith goes back to pass, rolls left. Oh, nice catch.
What a catch by Scott Anderson. What a catch.
Michael Anderson comes up with a
that's
big
Mike
catch.
Anderson. I'm sorry. My apologies to Mike.
Well, that's all right. We're looking at twins out there when we can't see the numbers.
He made a leaping catch. It was a first down. Big first down.
Big one.
What a play, Frank.
Chuck, we talked about Lyman Hall needing a big play, and they got it there from Mike Anderson on a ball that was less than perfectly thrown.
How do you figure this game? He drops 2 that he might have caught, and then he catches.
And there he catches 1, he gets it back for you. Well, once again, the big athletes managed to make the big plays, Chuck. 1st and 10 Trojans.
Here's Scott.
Oh! And Chuck, the bookend Andersons. Scott Anderson now on this side, and it shows the versatility of the Lyman Hall air attack.
Frank,
1st and 10 Lyman Hall on their own 45, and we're moving that football, Mr. Chuck.
Yep. And Frank, we're talking about the kids, the people in the skill positions, but let's give the Lyman Hall offensive line credit. They're giving Mike Smith enough time to pass right now, and they have to give enough time.
We've got some big lumber up front in Bismack.
Sean San
Lumber,
Miguel.
Bigliotto, of course, Lumber's out today. Sean San Miguel, we haven't called his name. Tremendous player. Long pass.
Great defensive play.
That is one of the better defensive
Shane
plays
Dorsey.
you're ever going to see.
Shane Dorsey makes an outstanding defensive play.
82, Shane Dorsey just knocked it right out of the hands of Mr. Anderson.
You might have been looking at 6 there if he doesn't make that play. I don't think you're going to see anybody catch Scott Anderson if he gets the ball in the open field, Frank.
Credit Mr. Dorsey with breaking that one up because...
If not 6, it was at least a big game for maybe 30 yards.
Now we've got a 2nd and 10 once again for the Trojan, from the Trojan 45. Smith going to be blindsided. Absolutely. Number 45.
Dave Artabani.
Artabani did the same thing that John Zacco did to Hart on the last series. He blindsided Mike Smith. Never saw him coming,
Big
Chuck.
play by the senior defensive end for the Titans.
And another nail in the Lyman Hall coffin, Chuck.
Well, what's happening here, Frank, this is wasting a lot of time. And time is of the essence as well as the score.
We've got a 3rd and 19 here. And once again, Coach Atoshin's got to dig into that bag of tricks to come up with a play that's going to get him 19 yards or close to it.
I still think they got to get the ball in the hands of Marcus Cito somehow here.
Fake to Aceto. He gets it out in the flat to Aceto. Aceto with some running room. Aceto into Sheehan territory. And Chuck, just what I said, we needed 19 yards or thereabout. And Mark Aceto got us about 17 of it.
They have to get the ball in his hands.
And Chuck, there's another great offensive brainchild that Coach Atoshin put in for this game. Just when you would think we were going to go north and south, Coach Atoshin decides to go a bit east and west with a screen pass to our best runner, Mark Aceto, and Aceto picks up 17.
Well, that's what I felt what should happen here. Mark has not had the ball that much in the second half. And they got the ball in his hands, and good things happen when Mark Aceto has the ball. And that was very close to being all the way.
Well, once again, the quickness in the Sheehan secondary prevented that touchdown, because you're right, Mr. Burghardt. Against many other teams in the Hoosie, we'd be looking at 6 points from Mark Aceto there. But right now, the play of the game is this one right here, Chuck.
We've had
fourth down, fourth and 2 for the Trojans.
Had a lot of key and crucial plays, but this is the play.
Well, we're on the Trojan 47-yard line. The Titan 47-yard line. The Trojans have a 4th and 2, and we need this. And I'm going to tell you something, Chuck. I would not give it to Mike Terrell up the middle.
They're looking for Terrell. You're right.
I think we've got to go with something else, and we are.
You got it.
Mike Anderson had it in his hands, perfectly thrown by Mike Smith, but dropped. And
nice hit by Keith Grum, too. Helped dislodge the ball from
there's
Scott
a costly
Mike
drop.
Anderson.
You could just see the disappointment and the slouched walk of Mike Anderson back to the huddle, Chuck.
Well, let's give credit where credit is due, Frank, and I think the Titan defense has been outstanding today. I really do.
Chuck, to the credit of the Lyman Hall players, they're all slapping Mike Anderson on the back there. Just a drop, an unfortunate drop. He had it right in his hands, but it's Sheehan ball, and we'll go on. Number 32, Kyle Hare.
El Vigliotto with a nice stop there. Now, he was injured earlier in the year, too.
Vigliotto, as you aptly said, Chuck, with a nice stop, and we're looking at a 2nd and 9 for the Sheehan Titans, but it may be all academic here, Chuck. 3:30 left in the ball game. Sheehan with the ball, enjoying a 20-7 lead. The game may have rested on that
play
4th
right there.
down Lyman Hall play.
I think everything is in Sheehan's favor at this point, Frank.
As you know, Chuck, I don't think we're going to see anything outside of the ordinary conservative ball-carrying plays here. And Baldaraki breaks out. What a run by Baldaraki.
What a job he has done today for the Titans.
Oh, Chuck.
Both sides of the ball.
Another great aspect of the Sheehan Titan offense. On a conservative running play, Baldaraki breaks it for approximately 15 yards. Well, Chuck, once again, we talked about, I want to remind our fans at home, at the conclusion of the game, please stay with us, because you're going to be seeing the awarding of the former Mayor Joseph Carini Trophy, and also the 4 outstanding MVP players of the games are going to be named. So stay with us after the conclusion of this game.
This is Hare with the ball.
Kyle Hare, all dressed up and nowhere to go. Tackled at the Lyman Hall 30 for a 1-yard gain.
With all this diversity, Frank, what the Titans have done in the second half, much to Coach Mannion and his players' credit, they have neutralized Mike Terrell in this half.
Well,
we have not seen him a lot in the second half.
Coach Mannion has made the adjustments he had to make. And Chuck, talking about the MVP players after this game, I'd have to say we were leaning towards Tom Baldaraki, but with that run, he may have sealed it up, but we'll see. There's going to be a lot of people voting. Baldaraki once again.
Well, he certainly has played his heart out today, and he's done an outstanding job on both sides of the ball. Defensively, he's played well, too.
Out of all the Sheehan players this year, I think even Coach Dennis Mannion would point towards Tom Baldaraki as their MVP. He's gotten yards for them on the ground, in the air. He's been one of the instrumental players defensively for the Titans. He's just done it all.
Well, he's a fullback, Frank, so he gets the tough yards. He gets those yards that you have to get.
The yards you got to earn, like Smith Barney. You got to earn them the hard way.
Oh, somebody missed a tackle.
Here up the middle, and look at this.
The ball's loose. The ball's loose. Somebody ripped it out.
Lyman Hall ball.
Well,
just as we're ready to award the game to the Titans, and we're preparing our post-game ceremonies, we may have been a little bit premature.
Well, it's going to take a lot. Well, a minute 40 for the Lyman Hall to get 2 scores, but they do have a chance. There's always a chance in the game.
I see Coach Mannion there, and
He must
I'm
be
sure
saying.
he's upset on that sidelines right now. He has to be, because the primary task of the Sheehan offense on that drive is to protect the ball,
Right, you
and
covered
they
that,
did not.
cover that ball with 2 hands, make sure
Now,
nobody
they
gets
give
it.
Lyman Hall another opportunity to get back in this game with a quick strike.
The ball's loose
Fumble.
again. I think Sheehan's got it back.
Well,
This has now become the fumble bowl, Frank. Unfortunately.
Chuck, I don't know what it is with the exchanges between the Lyman Hall center and quarterback today, but I'd say a good 4 or 5 of them ended up on the ground.
It's unfortunate to see a play like that, another fumble, even both sides of the ball, because it has been a well-played game.
Chuck, just as Sheehan opened the door with a fumble, it was quickly closed by a bad exchange from center to quarterback, and I'm sure that Mannion is barking out, protect the ball here.
Just sit down. He may even just sit down here. There's a pitch.
Pitch to here. Balderaki sweeps the end, and he is down to the Lyman Hall 1-yard line. And, Chuck, how do you figure it?
Well, hey, the guy has played well all game. Keep giving him the ball. Right? He didn't fumble the ball last time anyhow. He's holding on to it.
How do you figure it? This Dennis Mannion is just so unpredictable.
Well, there's another fact there too, Frank. You know, years of frustration are maybe washed down the drain right here, and why not score again if you can?
Well, I also think it shows confidence,
Oh, yeah,
Chuck,
definitely.
in his offense, saying, pitch the ball, let's go wide. They're going to expect us to be going up the middle.
That's right. That's right.
And
Get him by surprise.
I think he's just really showing his club's superiority here. Dennis has never one to rub it in. I would.
Oh
never,
no, I didn't mean to.
I know
cry
you
out.
didn't, Chuck.
No.
I know you didn't, but he would never be one to do that. He's such a class guy. But what the heck? You know, why not run it outside? If you got confidence in your offense, go outside. This is far from a blowout, that's for sure.
Yeah, you have to go where it works too.
Yeah.
And that's working for him the whole game. They have not done too much up the middle, so.
But, boy, the unpredictability of the Sheehan offense, that's what strikes me in that situation.
No, I don't think, like you said, I don't think they would rub it in. This is the nature of their offense. Their offense is this explosive offense.
Well, the score indicates that he's not even in a position to rub it in.
Oh, no. Well, he'd be
But,
passing if he was wanting to rub it in.
They certainly have controlled the second half. I will give them that.
I just think that, like I said, I think there's been years of frustration from the west side of town, and you can see the way the Sheehan kids are playing with tremendous intensity right here.
And it also shows, Chuck, to their credit, that they're playing from the opening to the closing whistle.
Without a doubt. And they've bounced back. Every time a break has gone their way, they bounce back and reversed it.
Chuck, on the flip side of the coin, I have to say this. I question that call a little bit because you're allowing a pitch which could be fumbled, but for all intents and purposes, with 28 seconds on the clock, the game's over.
You said it before. He has confidence in what they can do, and they're going to do what they do best, and that's go outside. He's in the end zone.
Touchdown, Sheehan Titans. And if there was any doubt as to who was going to win this game at this juncture, there isn't now, Mr. Burghardt.
No, there is no doubt. It's a resounding win for Sheehan and a well-deserved win.
Well, right now we're looking at the Sheehan Titans 26, the Lyman Hall Trojans 7, and the Titans are going to be going for point and number 27 here.
The Titans made the big plays when they had to make the big plays.
Absolutely.
That's the story of the game.
This was no fluke. This win absolutely was no fluke. This season was no fluke for Sheehan. As I said before earlier in the telecast, they are one of the most talented teams to ever come out of Wallingford.
Frank,
I would rate them, Chuck, if I could just get in one more thing.
Sure.
I would rate this team right up there with the 1974 Lyman Hall squad led by Rick Angelone and the 1985 Lyman Hall squad that went on to win the state championship. I would say that of all the teams here, those would be the best 3 to ever come out of Wallingford.
Yeah, this offensively they certainly match them. Defensively, well, today they played well defensively. Their defense, I think their defense won the game for them in a lot of ways.
I would agree with you. I would agree with you.
They didn't let Lyman Hall control the ball, and that was the key.
And
a little frustration here on the part of the Lyman Hall players. Unfortunately, it happens, but emotions run high, Frank.
Emotions run high. Unfortunately, one of our linemen has been ejected from the game.
A little wrestling match, and
That's frustration. And
You know, they lost the last 2 years by a point and 2 points, Sheehan. So this is a nice win for the Titans.
That's understandable. The game, it is over, and the Sheehan High fans, they are celebrating and hooping and hollering across the
right
field.
to celebrate. You know something, Frank? I would love to see Sheehan play Cheshire right now.
Absolutely.
I think the first game was anything can happen in an opening game, but right now I think they're every bit the match of Cheshire.
We've played them both, and I'll tell you this. We almost beat Cheshire on this field. I think that the Sheehan Titans had the unfortunate thing of playing Cheshire
in the opener
on their field, I believe.
Yeah, I think it was too.
They had the unfortunate occurrence of playing Cheshire in the first game. Otherwise, I think we'd see a completely different result if that game was played today.
Frank, at halftime, I went into the locker rooms, and one of my former students at Wilcox transferred over to Sheehan. Kenny Biggs said, "You like the first half, Mr. Burghardt?" He said, "It's going to get better in the second half," and he hit it right in the head. It got better for the Sheehan Titans.
Once again, let's not let the Sheehan win, which was well-deserved, overshadow this Lyman Hall squad.
No, they fought hard.
They fought hard today. They fought valiantly, and we've had some tremendous four-year athletes on this club.
There's no question about it. And they were part of, we talk about Sheehan, the frustration not going to the state championships. But last year's Lyman Hall team was also, just like Sheehan, had every right to be in the state championships, and they couldn't get there because of that point system.
Chuck, before the conclusion of this game, let's mention those seniors for both Lyman Hall and Sheehan. On the Lyman Hall side, the seniors are Kevin Bismack, Al Vigliotto, Jeff Wolcheski, Craig Lumber, Sean San Miguel, Scott and Mike Anderson, Mark Aceto, Mark Terrell. Also, I believe that is it. We've also got Johnny Zacco. Is he a senior coach?
He's a junior.
Okay, John Zacco's coming back. That's about it for the seniors. I hope I haven't omitted anyone.
An onside kick, and I think it's recovered by Sheehan. I'm not sure.
Well,
while we're doing that, the seniors for Sheehan, would you like to mention them?
Chuck, Coach Atoshin, I'll have to say this. I don't think he's going to be happy with this.
10 seconds and counting.
I myself don't see a purpose of doing an onside kick here at this juncture of the game, and I have to say that.
Well, it's over with anyhow.
And your final score.
Well,
again, I don't think the purpose was to run it up. I don't know where they're going to kick it when they're kicking that close to the goal line.
Absolutely. Well, time was running out.
Right.
But Sheehan has won the game, has done it impressively with a 27-7 win here. An impressive win, I might stress, in our 21st annual Carini Bowl.
Frank, would you want me to do the seniors for Sheehan?
Please do, Coach, because it's well-deserved. Let's get our seniors in, and let's give them credit.
All right, the seniors for Sheehan: Pat Hart, Nick D'Angelo, Marcus Aaya, David Prentice, Keith Crum, Sean Grodzicki, Jason Greenlaw, Tom Baldaracchi, Mike Florzak, Dave Artabani, Sean Ball, Todd Hewson, Chuck Greenlaw, Frank Apuzzo, Alex Messi, Tom Clark, there's more, Shane Dorsey, Andy Borelli, Matt Lawrenson, Jason Zelich, and Ken Biggs. Those are the seniors for Sheehan
Coach,
Titans, the victors today.
I'm rounding up a couple of more players.
For Lyman Hall? Okay. And we don't want to miss anybody.
I'm checking down our list because I do want to mention it all. It's well-deserved, and I believe I've got the remaining four that I didn't mention, Coach.
Okay.
We've got Ryan Barnes, Frank DeLanger, Mark Jeremiah, and Edward Garver, and I hope I haven't omitted anyone. I believe I've got them all in, and let's give tribute to the seniors on both clubs for 4 good, hard years of football.
Right.
They deserve it.
And it's been 4 exciting years for both schools.
And speaking of deserving, no question about it, Sheehan Titans had an outstanding season, ended up 9-1, 7 points away from a completely undefeated, unblemished record.
And certainly one of the best teams in the state, Frank.
Right now at the center of the field, we're going to have the presentation of the traditional Carini Bowl.
Right, they got the same thing? Yeah. Okay. Without a doubt.
Mark Aceto, Baldaracchi. Yeah, I'd go along with every one of those.
Yeah.
Every one of those.
I got it? Good. Those are the kids.
Well, right now I think we'd like to pause for a brief public service announcement. And after which time we'll be back for the awarding of the Carini Trophy and the Most Valuable Player Awards. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone, to once again Lyman Hall's Fitzgerald football field, where right now we are going to witness the presentation of the 21st annual Carini Bowl trophy. Mayor William Dickinson is going to be making the announcements right now for Most Valuable Player, and Sheehan's Most Valuable Defensive Player is Chuck number 62, Charles Greenlaw.
Said he's got a good name, Chuck, like I said. Played an outstanding
Chuck,
game.
I'll let you make the call. Outstanding MVP award defensively for the Lyman Hall Trojans goes to
Scott Anderson, number 3 for Lyman Hall.
No surprise there.
No, he
Scotty
made
Anderson had a great defensive
3 or 4
day
saves.
today.
3 or 4 saves for
As
touchdowns.
did Greenlaw.
Yeah, he had an outstanding day.
Offensive Player Award from Sheehan High School goes to number 33, Tom Burghardt.
Oh, here's a well-deserved
there's no doubt about
presentation. You know, Chuck, I'll have to say this. We were unanimous up here in the booth. We all do the voting between about 10 of us up here, and we were all unanimous on the calls, but the one we were really unanimous on was Balderaki.
Without a doubt.
And here's another one we were unanimous on, Coach.
Yep.
Number 24, Mark Aceto, and I'll tell you, Mark is disappointed. I could see it in his face, but he carried the Trojans this year and deserves this award for this game and for the season.
He's played hard the entire season. Had an outstanding year.
What a year. And only his first year of running the ball, Chuck.
Right.
First annual Carini Trophy.
This is
Here goes the trophy, Coach.
first win for Coach Mannion in the Carini Bowl.
It's going to be going back to the west side of town.
Yeah. The sun is shining, and it's shining for his
look at
Sheehan
this.
Titans right now. To see the
Coach
sun.
Mannion accepts the trophy, holds it high, and look at the Titans celebrate.
Yeah. And every right to celebrate, Frank.
And you know, Chuck, with class, as usual, the Lyman Hall Trojans sit there, they accept their defeat, and now,
All you could do, Frank, is play hard, and they played hard.
well,
You give it your
they're
best shot, and that's all you could do.
You could see it in their faces. You know, this would have salvaged their season, Chuck.
Yep.
And a very disappointing season, riddled by injuries.
And it would have took
This-
a lot of luster off Sheehan's season, so
This could have turned it around, but Sheehan proved that they deserve the Carini Bowl trophy. It deserves to be on the west side of town after this year, and there it will rest, Chuck.
it was a very talented offensive team. But again, give that Sheehan defense credit, Frank. They rose to the occasion
Well,
today. They shut down a team that's been scoring about 30 points a game in the last
I would
3 games.
say you're right. You know, Lyman Hall held them 4 points under their average, played a tremendous game. I think we have to take into account that the Sheehan offense wasn't as effective as they normally are because they had excellent field position all day.
Right, right.
So you're right.
I think at least 5 times in the game they start inside the 50, and that's tremendous field position.
Credit the Sheehan defense with this victory. They held Lyman Hall to 7 points. They gave ground sometimes grudgingly, you know, through the air and on the ground. They bent, but they didn't break.
Right, and every time Lyman Hall got a break and got the ball, Sheehan rose to the occasion again. They return the ball right back to their offense.
You know, also we mentioned the unfortunateness of the Trojan turnovers and the Trojan fumbles, but many of those are caused by stripping.
That's right.
And once again, credit the Sheehan Titans. An unfortunate loss for the Lyman Hall Trojans, and a disappointing season.
It was disappointing for Coach
For
Atoshin.
Coach Atoshin. He had high expectations. Injuries took the big season away from him, but was no doubt here today who was the better team.
No doubt, and I think we'll have to go back to the key play of the game. Would have to be John Gers' kickoff return after Lyman Hall had tied the game. And I think that turned it back in favor of the Titans, and they really never lost it after that, Frank.
Absolutely. And, you know, when we came out after halftime, we mentioned that the Trojans had the better of it, even though they were down 7 points on the scoreboard. But Dennis Mannion made the adjustments he had to make. They came out and started to do with what brought them. They started going wide, and then that set up the passing game and the inside game. He did a complete about-face, and it was successful. And give them credit. They won the ball game. The series now stands at 16-5. The Titans pick up their 5th win in the series. It's still very much commanded. The series is very much in the command and in the hands of the Lyman Hall Trojans, but one has the feeling the Titans may have started something here and might be on their way back to regaining respectability in the Carini Bowl.
Well, you can see the series is getting closer, Frank, because it's 2 wins in the last 3
let's
times.
turn this way. I
Oh,
just
here
been
we are.
informed
Okay.
that we are on camera.
We're on camera.
Hi out there, everybody. Hey, Chuck, let's shake hands with the people at home.
My pleasure to be here.
It's been a pleasure to do this game. Once again, Chuck, while we have the opportunity, why don't we run down that TV production crew because they deserve a tremendous thank you for the effort they've put in for the townspeople of Wallingford.
Yep, and they're doing an outstanding job. TV production crew. Mike Arico just turned the cameras on us here. Scott Amore, Tom Caneschi, Carol Krupa, Matt Simjian, and Ken Blakeslee. And in the mobile van, David Burghardt and Scott Hanley.
Well, that's been our TV production crew. We'd like to thank them for the tremendous effort and the tremendous job they've done up here. We'd also like to extend our congratulations and thanks to all the people who were up here in the box, all of who do a tremendous thankless job. And while we got the opportunity and while Mr. Mike Germanese just walked right in front of our camera here, hey, Mike, what do you think?
Well, his shoulder may look better than our faces
Mike,
anyhow. So
don't feel bad. It's one of the few mistakes you've made in 21 years here.
Mike does
Mike
an outstanding
wants us
job.
to edit that out. But while we have an opportunity here, Chuck, I want to thank everybody that's associated with both schools here.
Yes.
Down to the people in the snack bars, the people who line the fields, the police who come and do the ball games. There's so many people involved in the success of a football season. They're just too numerous to mention. But all you people out there, we'd like to thank you for all you do for both squads.
Yes. A lot of classy people involved, and a lot of nice people, hard-working people.
Chuck, let's wrap it up. 21st Annual Carini Bowl played here at Fitzgerald Field. The final score is the Sheehan Titans 27. Hurts me to say it. The Sheehan Titans 27 and the Lyman Hall Trojans 7. And the trophy is going back to the west side of town where it rightfully belongs after today's game. I'm Frank Raucci for my broadcast partner, Chuck Burghardt. Chuck, any final comments?
No, you hit it right in the head. They deserve to win it, and Sheehan's bringing that trophy back to the west side of town, and they deserve it.
Chuck, I have to say it's been a pleasure working with you.
My
It's been
pleasure.
your first time
My
on the
pleasure,
mic,
Frank.
and I'm amazed at the job you did for the first time. I hope it was well received by the people out there. And once again, from Fitzgerald Football Field, I'd like to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving weekend, and thank you, and goodbye.